I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game.
Me. Bam. Me, man.
Not a game.
Slap that like she scored 30.
We talking about sports. I mean, what we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.
I'm as ready as the Rockets are. So fucking ready I am.
All right, welcome back to We Talking About Sports, episode 26. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus. You know, November coming along, a lot of things came up, but we're back. Want to thank all the faithful listeners who were egging me on. Where's the podcast?
For sure.
It's back, guys. We're here. How's y'all's break?
Good, man. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's good. Just ready to be back. Honestly, a lot of stuff has gone on in the sports world since we've been gone, and a lot of stuff to touch on. There's been a couple of weeks where I wish we would have gone on because of everything that has been going on in the sports world. Not even basketball is probably the most active sport that there is. I mean, the NBA offseason is unlike any other offseason out there in terms of everything that goes on from the draft to players moving and all the drama that goes on with that. We're going to touch on a lot of that today because Ben's wearing a Rockets jersey, and they were probably involved in one of the bigger offseason moves of the offseason since the bubble ended. And Justin's got on a Lakers jersey, and they were big players this offseason also. So yeah, a lot to get to, and I'm just excited to be back. So yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. We were out for the holidays. We went down to the valley for about a week. We were down there ready to get back over here. Glad to be back up in New Braunfels working again. Unfortunately, that's the bad part about coming back home. You got to go back to work. But it was dope being in the valley, bro. But the same, my cousin was hitting me up. Another buddy was hitting me up. Yo, the podcast, what's up? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it today, this week. So happy to be back. Pounding White Claws today for the first time.
Gotta watch some calories.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. But I mean, it doesn't taste like much, to be honest.
A little bit of flavor in there. That's about it.
Yeah. Hey, yo, college basketball's starting to get in full swing. The NBA's about to start. The NFL's, the wild card race is wrapping up. UFC, we got 2 pay-per-views before the end of the year. We got some big fights coming up. This is a perfect week to be back, man. We're gonna set things back in order and roll into the new year. Hopefully, just kicking the podcast every week.
There's too much going on not to come back this week, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, guys. I just want to talk about the intro here. Jimmy V week, guys. You know, college basketball is back, and every time it's back, you think about Jimmy V. And I just want to talk about Stuart Scott, just because it's somebody who I saw today. I was watching his whole speech when he won the Jimmy V award. And I just want to ask you guys, what do you guys remember about Stuart Scott, and what impact did he have on you as a sports fan?
Stuart, I mean, quite frankly, I think he's probably the GOAT in terms of the ESPN analysts or the ESPN sportscasters, whatever you want to call them. All the guys who go on there for Sports Center. I mean, he came up with probably some of the most ridiculous sayings. Yeah, exactly. Sayings they'll stay with us forever, and they're part of everyday life. Like, you don't even have to be talking about sports to use some of his sayings. Like, that's just how transcendent he was as a sportscaster there for Sports Center. My favorite. I mean, I grew up on Sports Center, watching Sports Center on loop on Saturday mornings. You know, stuff like that. So Stuart Scott definitely spiked an interest in me in terms of watching sports and stuff, just by the way how eccentric he was. Any sport, baseball, basketball, football, he had it all. But yeah, sad to see him go, but his fight throughout the whole time that he had cancer was very, very honorable and inspiring. You would never tell that he had that going on, and sad to see that, you know, it ultimately took his life, but his legacy is not to be forgotten at all.
Yeah, I pretty much echo Roland's sentiment. And it was like, you know, our teenage years, kind of, you know, growing up watching Sports Center back on channel 60, like on Time Warner.
60, yeah.
Time Warner cable back in the Valley, bro. And Kenny Mayne and Stuart Scott were around in that era. I remember the baggy suits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have these Ryan Clark suits up there now. They had the old school baggy starch suits. So Yeah, a bunch of memories. Like Roland said, a bunch of hip hop references, everyday life references. He was smooth. He was smooth with his transitions. He was a natural, man. Glad that everybody got to saw him. And then that speech he gave when he won the that award, that was crazy. That was ridiculous. So, yeah, R.I.P. to Jimmy V.
Also part of some of the best Sports Center commercials. Sports Center. Yeah, he was a part of some of the best ones. Yeah. And that's the good thing about this stuff. You can always go back and watch it. That's why his legacy lives on. You can always go back and watch Stuart Scott. So it's all
ESPN commercials, man.
I gotta agree. Like Roland said, definitely the GOAT of the Sports Center commentators. Man, I was talking to my dad about it today. I said, "Hey, man, I kind of feel like I grew up with this guy. Like, every morning I would go to my grandma's house, and it was Sports Center on repeat, and it was the replays of the night before, and I just felt like I was a part of that. Just there's some kind of attachment there. So I just wanted to talk about it because it was Jimmy V week this week, and I wanted to ask y'all your opinions because I think any sports fan, they have some kind of story about Stuart Scott that, something they liked about him.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Like Roland said, big moves this week, off season. NBA talk. Let's talk about the draft. I want to focus on the first 5 picks real quick.
For sure.
Let's talk about number 1, Anthony Edwards from Georgia. So something that kind of came up to me, and I said, wow, I want to get y'all's opinion. I heard him quote saying something along the lines of, if an NFL team would call him, he would go to the NFL. Kind of seems like basketball is not really his passion. Like he wants to be a football player. What do you think about hearing something like that if you're taking him number 1?
I didn't watch a lot of Georgia in college or even, follow too much of the combine. Roland would probably know more than me. But what I do know is that he's a specimen. Like he's a beast. Yeah. He already has an NBA body. Is pretty much why he went number 1. And if I remember correctly, there wasn't much discussion about who was going to go number 1, right? There really wasn't names flip-flopping. Maybe early Wiseman. But it was Edwards pretty much that was going to be taken number 1. And crazy to hear, even with a quote like that being said, that usually you take a guy number 1, it's a franchise player. And if the dude says they call me to play football, they need a tight end. I'm out. Deuces. That's pretty wild, bro.
It's wild, right?
It is wild, but that's why the Minnesota Timberwolves stay fucking up. So, let's keep it real. They stay fucking up. But it's a good piece to add to Russell and Karl Anthony Towns already. Kogi, they got a couple of role players there too. But like I said, they just get in their own way, the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I'm not expecting much from the T-Wolves, to be honest.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, that little quote that he had kind of shocked me. And I think he also alluded to, like Justin was saying, basketball not being his first love and him not really being in love with the sport. So that's kind of an eyebrow raiser. But I also think that he's about the business too, because he also came out and said and answered a question from a reporter how he felt about going and playing in the cold in Minnesota. And his answer was like, basketball's played inside. He's like, I don't care about the snow outside. I'm there to go play ball. I'm not going to be out in the snow. Who cares about the weather? So he's about the business. And his NBA comparison, I think best case scenario, a lot of people were throwing out, he's a slightly more athletic Dwayne Wade in terms of his NBA build and kind of the game and how that likens to the NBA. And then I really see a little bit of also like DeMar DeRozan kind of in his game as well. He's athletic. He's not afraid to take the shot. He can create his own shot off the dribble. So yeah, I wasn't really high on this draft from a talent perspective altogether. I know Anthony Edwards is the number 1 pick, but have you put him up against some of these other more talented drafts that we've seen in the past couple of years? I think he stays in the lottery, but I don't think he goes number 1. But Minnesota, it's weird because Minnesota's they're wing heavy too. They got a lot of guys out on the wing, so see how that works out for them. But yeah, Anthony Edwards, like Ben said, probably the most NBA ready prospect that there is, other than maybe James Wiseman. I'm pretty high on him and his game there in the post. We'll get to him right now because
if Edwards doesn't turn into a Dion Waiters,
and that's I think that's probably his floor is a Dion Waiters. Which Dion Waiters, he's journeyman, but he's still in the league. He's going to be a 10-year vet pretty soon.
Just don't need too many cubbies.
Yeah, just don't need too many. And Dion Waiters was the number 3 pick. I think the Cavs drafted him number 3 his year.
That's why I compared them and the position, the build, everything. Like Deion Waiters had a lot of hype coming out.
And it's all relative to the talent that's in that year's draft. Like we had, I know the guy's a bust and he's not even in the league anymore, but Anthony Bennett went number 1 in 1 year. I mean, that's the Cavs going crazy on you. But the talent that year, I don't think was that stout. I'd have to go back and look, but that's how some things like this happen.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 2, James Wiseman to the Warriors. The reason I think this was interesting is because, unfortunately, we get the news, I think, pre-draft night.
Yeah, that was crazy, all of that development.
Warriors Achilles.
Oh,
we're not going to see Clay again for another year.
So everybody
think this was wise to go with a center and not replace Clay and trade down or make a trade for something to get him?
I think everybody expected them to trade that pick, right? Before Clay
I
got
thought
injured.
so. That's what I thought for sure.
And then as soon as Clay got injured, everybody said, okay, now they're taking somebody for sure. But they traded for Wiggins. They got Oubre. So they have some wing players to kind of replace
nice.
Klay Thompson. But, yeah, they needed a big man to hold it down. Who was the guy who was playing, giving them some minutes, but he was kind of like an undersized center? He was like
another Draymond Green, Eric Pascal, the guy from
right.
Villanova.
Yeah.
I like Pascal's game, though. He's pretty good. He's just not supposed to be your center.
He's undersized, for sure.
Yeah.
You needed a big. So, I mean, it was a good draft pick. It was definitely a need.
Yeah, I like Wiseman's game a lot. I think he's pretty developed. He has a lot of tools. I think he can size you up and take you off the dribble, and he also has a couple of moves back to the basket. So definitely interesting, as Justin said. It was crazy, the development that night for the draft. You hear Klay Thompson had a serious injury. They really don't know what the status of the injury is. They just know that it was bad, and that kind of put the Warriors in a precarious situation because, as Ben was talking about, everybody was thinking that they were going to trade that pick and try and stockpile and get another talented veteran in the league. But when the injury went down, they kind of got put into a little corner, and they had to take. I think probably the best prospect available for them to take was probably James Wiseman. I think LaMelo Ball would have been an interesting pick there, pairing him up with Steph Curry. Maybe Steph Curry plays a little bit more off ball if you draft LaMelo. Have him play a little bit more 2-guard, but definitely like the pick, and unfortunate that Klay Thompson went down like that, because I'm not a Warriors fan, but I do like Klay Thompson. I respect his game. He's a good two-way player. Doesn't really talk a lot of shit. He talks shit when he needs to, but he's just a grade A player, and hate to see injuries take a guy's career like that. Hopefully he's able to recover and kind of be like a spot-up shooter, kind of like Ray Allen was towards the end of his career, but sucks to see that happen in his prime.
You don't think he'll be a starter again?
Oh, he'll be a starter just because of what he brings to the table, I think. But
shooting-wise?
It's shooting
because a lot of his game's off the ball, so I think.
But he won't. You think he'll be that defensive guy again?
I don't know. That's part of his game too. He was a two-way player.
He was a perimeter
top 5 two-way player.
He was the guy who would guard Harden for the most part as well, like in their
and play some good defense.
And he would do a good job. Yeah, he would do it because he's smart. He's a smart guy.
And I mean, a lot of people like to give him crap about not being able to go off the dribble, but he's pretty good off the dribble too, for what it's worth. I mean, that's not his game, but he's pretty decent at getting.
I'm not gonna go that far.
I'm just saying it's not his game per se, but
I think he's the best shooter on the Warriors.
He had enough burst to get away from a defender. I don't know if that's going to be there anymore. That's why I'm saying he's going to be strictly a spot-up shooter with these injuries.
If the Warriors had drafted LaMelo, bro, how jealous would Steph be? There's no way they would have done that.
I don't know. Steph, I think, would have worked well with LaMelo. He'd take a lot of
pressure. He would have let somebody else come over and take over his team after KD already did it.
LaMelo wouldn't have taken over the team from Steph.
LeVar would have made sure. Shout out LeVar.
That's probably why they didn't draft him, honestly, because they didn't want to.
Shout out LeVar Ball, though. His other son got signed with the Pistons. Yeah.
Sign me up for a vial. I want a vial.
All right, let's get into number 3. The owner with a history of not making good picks. Michael Jordan's team, the Hornets.
The draft, baby.
LaMelo Ball.
Hell yeah, baby.
About this one.
This is a LaMelo Ball podcast.
Great pick.
We've said it. We've said it when we started talking about the draft a couple of months ago. This is the LaMelo Ball podcast. I'm excited to see what he can do with the Hornets, and I'm excited to see that LeVar Ball versus Michael Jordan one-on-one match. That's got to be coming.
It's gonna be on the next Tyson fight. It's gonna be a
Triller.
But in all seriousness, though, as much as I do love LaMelo Ball, I think he's the biggest boomer bust prospect.
Hey, we're only booming, baby.
Yeah, exactly. If he booms, he's going to be a walking triple-double.
One of the triple Bs rolling, so don't be saying that shit.
He's going to be a walking triple-double, best case scenario, but I can see a path to his game not necessarily translate, because I don't know. He's a better shooter than Lonzo, but his game is predicated on shooting the ball, so hopefully that's able to translate. He's not afraid to chunk it. We've all seen the videos.
Rookie stat line?
Rookie stat line for LaMelo Ball, I can easily see like 17, 7, and 6 or something like that. Best case scenario. Because like I said, he does everything on the court. He's a great passer. He can take you off the dribble. He's not afraid to chunk it. He's a volume guy. And you got to think on the Hornets, he's going to be the guy taking most of the shots. I'd rather have him taking the shots than Terry Rozier. But yeah, that's just me.
Oh, Devontae Graham.
Devontae Graham. I'm sorry. No disrespect. No disrespect, Devontae Graham.
That's a nice combo right there.
Yeah.
I got a question. Is some of the pressure off LaMelo now that he didn't go 1 or 2?
I think the pressure is kind of still there just because of everything that has to
Jordan pick. There's pressure there.
Yeah.
That's his own pressure.
I will say, if there's anybody that's ready for it, it's him, man. He's been in the spotlight since he was fucking, excuse my language, since he was like 9 years old, 10 years old. There's videos of him playing ball when he was in 3rd grade with Lonzo when he was in the 9th grade, just chunking up shots as a little midget playing against other 9th graders. Like, he's built for this. He got pulled out of high school as a sophomore to go to Lithuania and play games on Facebook.
It might have been prematurely, Roland. That might have been prematurely.
Against grown men. But what I'm saying is it's been an unorthodox climb to the top for LaMelo Ball. But if there's anybody that's ready for the spotlight and that was built for the spotlight, it's this kid, because he's been in it literally his whole life.
Yeah, we're a LaMelo Ball podcast. Look, I want to see the ball. It might not take much to win Rookie of the Year with this draft class.
Exactly.
True.
If he scores 17, 18 points per game, that's guaranteed Rookie of the Year. I'll tell you that. So,
yeah,
do we expect him to be a starter?
Shoot, maybe. I think he'd be a starter for sure. Line him and Devontae Graham up together.
Hey, he better not be hanging out with Malik Monk too much, bro. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. Stay away from Malik Monk.
Yeah,
that'll get you in some trouble.
All right, let's move on to number 4. And honestly, this pick blew my mind. Patrick Williams from Florida State, who did not even start in the NCAA on his team, to the Bulls. Man, I don't know. I mean, I get the 7-foot wingspan and all, but didn't even start on his team.
Yeah, Florida State Florida State was the longest team in college basketball last year. They were lengthy. They were athletic as hell. I mean, not Mo Bamba, but Isaac came out of there previously. They all have that Jonathan Isaac body style. It was a surprising pick. There was some people calling it like a long shot. I know that there was odds on this, and some people hit 8-1 after it had come down from like 16-1. That's the thing with the draft, bro. And a lot of the people that do the props, there's some people that just know, whether it's knowing somebody in there, and you get crazy shit like this. Like on Twitter, this was trending for a while, this pick actually.
Yeah.
And some of it was because of the odds that were there for him being drafted at number 4. So, yeah, this was a surprise pick. We've seen some guys who weren't starters in college come into the league and ball out, Tyler Hero being the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But, Florida State, he has the body for the NBA. Another guy, long as hell, like you mentioned, Justin, with the wingspan and everything. But I don't know what the hell the Bulls are doing, to be honest.
This is a project player.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what the plan is though in Chicago. Like I don't know what their plan is over there.
Yeah. Well, they still got Zach LaVine there, so
probably
try and build around those two guys. And I think they still got Wendell Carter. I think they held on to him there in the post. He has shown some promise throughout his time there in Chicago. But just getting to the pick, as Justin said it perfectly. he's a project player. He's some guy that he has all the physical attributes that you want in an NBA player. 19 years old. The only thing that concerns me again is that he didn't start and he really didn't log in too many minutes at FSU. He only played 30 minutes twice during his time there at FSU. But then again, FSU is historically one of the deeper teams, at least the past couple of years, in terms of how deep they go to their bench. They're about 8 or 9 deep consistently every year. They got guys that come off the bench, and he's just one of those guys that showed some flashes here and there, and has the wingspan that everybody looks for at those positions. And he's going to kind of be like a hybrid. Is he like Jaren Jackson kind of territory? Maybe. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be as good as him, but I'm thinking of pro comparisons for the guy. But weird pick, especially at number 4. But also again, product of the draft class. The draft class wasn't that deep. So
top 3, and then it fell off.
Exactly. That's how you get these things.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 5. Isaac, I'm gonna butcher this last name, Okoro, to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do y'all think about that one?
I don't even
he's an Auburn product, so I mean he can shoot the 3 ball. Another guy, 6'6", has a pretty good wingspan, can probably play the 2 through the 4, depending on the lineup that they have out there for them. And he can shoot the ball. So, and
his body's NBA ready too.
Yeah,
he's ready 225.
Shooting's at a premium right now in the NBA. If you can shoot the 3 ball, you're going to find yourself on a roster. And the only thing that concerns me is that he's going to Cleveland. It's very hard to succeed in Cleveland, and he's going to be playing with what's the guy's Sexton? Colin Sexton, who's like the younger version of Russell Westbrook, probably. So we'll see how that works out there for them in Cleveland. But again, just a weird draft class for me altogether. Hard to get excited for the draft picks other than LaMelo Ball. Honestly, that's the main reason why I was watching, to see where he went, see who the Spurs drafted. Devin Vassell, had to shout that out real quick.
And Trey Jones, right?
And Trey Jones from Duke. Yeah, going to be pretty good, I think, for the Spurs. So we'll see what happens. Who did the Rockets end up taking?
We traded our first round pick.
Oh,
we did draft Kenyon Martin Jr.
There you go. Yeah.
And he's got bunnies. I mean,
how tall is he? Is he like his dad?
I believe he's 6'8".
So
and he's young, but he's like 19 or 20, I believe. Like, he's young as hell.
All right.
I think he played at Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, he played at IMG. I thought he played at IMG.
He took a prep year then, and instead of going to college, just played.
That's what he did. Yeah, that's what he did.
All right. Yeah. So looking back, let's say on this draft 3 years from now, who do you think is going to be the most successful, and who will be the bust?
Bust, I'm gonna call Patrick Williams. I hate calling guys busts, but I just think out of all these guys, he's shown the least out of the top 5 in terms of his college production. So I'm gonna go there. And the all-star here is going to be LaMelo Ball, baby. LaMelo Ball all the way.
I like that.
LaMelo, Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Yeah. The Hornets will be in the playoffs maybe in a year or 2.
LeVar Ball has to be inducted into the Hall of Fame if LaMelo Ball wins Rookie of the Year. I mean,
they got P.J. Washington, Devonte Graham, and now Lonzo Ball. Next year they'll have another lottery pick, or Miles Bridges. They'll get another big man. And the bust, speaking of big men, is going to be James Wiseman, because he's on the Warriors and they're going to be in the lottery again next season. So, this fool sucks. He's going to suck.
Shout out Leo. I know you're going to be watching.
Let's move on. Let's go to the NBA quick hitters. Let's talk about some off-season moves. And we're going to open up with Ben's team, the Rockets.
Let's talk about teams that are trying to get better over here.
The big bomb that dropped yesterday.
The watch bomb, baby. Talking about Russ to John Wall, and Houston gets a first-round pick as well.
Dude.
Who wins the trade, guys?
Houston fleeced Washington. Why do you give up a first-round pick? I mean, that should have just been a player swap. 2
contracts. Why are you giving that pick up?
John Wall hasn't played in 2 years, Roland.
Yeah, that's true too. But again, like, Houston was obviously trying to shop Russell Westbrook. They're trying to move him. I think Houston did a good job. I'm going to end up saying Houston won the trade because I'm high on John Wall from everything that I've heard in terms of players who've been working out with him, videos that I've seen. I know you can only take so much from an Instagram video, but it looks like he still has some explosiveness left. I've said it in our group chat the other day. I think when healthy, I would take John Wall over Russell Westbrook. I think they bring kind of the same things to the table, but I think John Wall's more of a natural point guard. He's not going to kind of throw a wrench in your offense when Russell Westbrook tries to go God mode, sometimes. I know he had a really, really good lead up to the bubble before he got hurt. He was playing some of the best ball that he had played, but the story with Russell Westbrook, I mean, once it gets to playoff time, you know what to do. You pack the paint, force him to shoot the ball, and he'll end up trying to do something crazy. So I'm excited to see John Wall with the Rockets, but let's let the Rockets correspondent tell us what he thinks.
This move, it caught me kind of by surprise because the teams are already reporting this week. So it shouldn't have caught me by surprise, because if he was going to get dealt before he got uncomfortable, it was going to be before they reported or right when they reported. It had been rumored, but like on draft night, and the Wizards, we wanted more assets for Russ. Because honestly, even me, myself, I'm not that high on John Wall. I don't know what to expect, because I hear that just people don't come back from torn Achilles the same. He is a guy who relies a lot on his quickness and his explosiveness. He can shoot better than Russell Westbrook. He shot like 30% from three, which isn't over 30% from three, which isn't the best, but it's better than Russ. And like you said about more pure point guard, I think that he gets more people involved. I like him in the pick and roll with the other addition that we'll get to in a bit. I don't know what to expect, man. I'm hoping that he can get us 20 points a game. I'm hoping that he can stay healthy. I know that people that tear their Achilles usually try and come back by the next season, and that's why they don't come back the same. Unfortunately, with this COVID season and what happened in the NBA, John Wall's been out 2 years.
Got an extra time.
So fully healed, not years that aren't on the tires for him. He's 30 years old. Westbrook is 32. Their contracts pretty much align. Some would argue they're some of the worst contracts in the NBA. Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and John Wall, because they're just highly overpaid, and John Wall and Russell Westbrook, once their athleticism is gone, people say that their career is done. That's kind of the stigma that they get. How the Rockets have gotten all three players with the worst contracts in the NBA, I don't know. We'll see if they flip John Wall for Blake Griffin next year and just add on the other worst contract in the NBA, which was actually an option, Russell Westbrook for Blake Griffin. There was so much going on with the whole Harden demanding a trade. I know that this happened, but this obviously was what happened, and now Harden is going to stay with the Rockets, right?
Speaking of James Harden, I saw some reports. I guess reputable sources, Bleacher Report, ESPN, but you can never really tell with this stuff when they talk about things that are going on in the locker room. But apparently James Harden had a preference to play with John Wall over Russell Westbrook in this upcoming year. So I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying there's a common denominator in all of these things. But the only thing that I will say is James Harden has been the better player in all of those. So you're going to go with what the best player wants. So,
yeah. And another thing that I'll say is, and people were saying, like, so are they beefing or what? But what do you all think about it? I think Harden posted them on his birthday. Yeah, they were together on their birthday, which was like 2 weeks ago. I think that Russ just wants his team. He wants to be at the wheel. And like you said, Harden being the best player on the Rockets, being there, being the veteran, like being there longer on the team, it's going to be his team. And I'm glad Russ now he's reunited with Scott Brooks in DC, a guy that he played for under the Thunder, who he actually got along with really well. He has Bradley Beal over there. Let's see how he coaches.
Davis Bertans is a sniper.
Yeah, they got Davis Bertans. They got Rui Hachimura, another lottery pick from Gonzaga. So I think it worked out for both guys. I know that Harden, PJ Tucker, and John Wall had been hooping together, running those open gym things. And it's weird because you see Harden playing with a guy in the summer, and then the Rockets go and trade for him. That shit came up with him and Chris Paul playing in the Drew League together. Then they go and trade for him. And then him and Russ obviously are best friends. They go trade for him.
Houston's going to be a scene next year in terms of this. I saw somebody say also, I have to bring it to the podcast. They're the best off-court duo in the league. best off-court backcourt in the league, John Wall and James Harden. I mean, the party scene over in Houston. I mean,
And Boogie.
the
Boogie
real
got
winners
it.
here is I don't know any. Is it Magic City? Is that the name of one of the strip
Might
clubs
be.
in Houston? I'm not too
I don't
familiar.
I don't know if there's a Magic City
with
in
that
Houston.
scene over there, but the joke around here is that James Harden's jersey is in the rafters in Houston strip clubs. I mean, John Wall's going to make a push to get up there with them. So
hey, you know what? We did this trade, and today before the podcast, I went back and I listened to all the smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. They had John Wall on there.
Oh yeah.
So I went and listened to see what he was about. But he's had a kid since he's last played in the league. He had a kid, a girl, and now his wife is pregnant with another kid, a boy. So I don't know, Roland. I'm hoping maybe those days are behind him now that he's a family man. And he's
hopefully for the Rockets, right?
And he's determined to be on a comeback, little revenge tour. I'm hoping that he's not out in the strip clubs with Harden and shit.
John Wall, I mean, he's a guy also. He gets a bad rap. I mean, he does there's a whole thing about him being gang signed or gang affiliated and all of that stuff. But I mean, if you go and do your actual research, he gave back to the Washington community. He was embedded in that community while he was there. So it's guys get bad raps because videos make it onto Instagram and stuff like that, and there's a bad look. But I don't think John Wall's a bad guy by any means. And like Ben said,
doesn't look like he throws that gang sign though.
Hey, gang sign John Wall, man. Once he reaches that level, it's hard to find another player that's better than him. So we'll see. I like John Wall. I said he was going to be All-Star again, but I don't know what's going to happen in the West now. It was a little bit maybe easier in the East.
I think that John Wall's floor is higher than Russell Westbrook. But I think that Russell Westbrook's ceiling is higher than John Wall's.
Yeah, because he hasn't dealt with the crazy injuries. Russell Westbrook's still been fairly healthy.
And I just don't expect John Wall to go for 30 or 40. Like Russell Westbrook did have games where he would go for 30. He had games where he'd go for 40 and put us on his back. I don't expect that, but John Wall's a guy who's going to get everybody involved. He's a playmaker. I like it, bro. I like it with the additions that we've gotten. I'm just hoping that he can stay healthy. That's pretty much all this comes down to is John Wall going to stay healthy? And like Roland said, everybody that we've heard from, videos that we've seen, players that run and play with them, everybody said that he looks good. I'm sure Harden wouldn't have signed off on this if he didn't feel like John Wall was good. And I'm sure Harden signed off on this.
You're hoping.
No, I'm pretty sure Harden.
I know you want him there, but let's see what happens. I think he stays. I don't think he's going to leave.
Well, this season,
he hasn't made it in Houston.
Yeah, for this season, Harden is I think going to be a Houston Rocket. They made a couple of moves to help him out.
They have the power over him with the contract anyway. So
that and Kevin Durant called cap on the whole thing about them saying that they were talking about playing with each other.
Or that he was telling him to go. Yeah. My brother says it's for tampering reasons, just so he won't hit.
Oh, true. That's true.
Could be. I just want to get some quick thoughts on a few teams here. Let's start with the Miami Heat. Free agents that they lost: Jay Crowder, Derrick Jones Jr., Kyle Alexander, Solomon Hill, and Gabe Vincent. Through the draft, they added Precious Achiuwa, and free agency they added Maurice Harkless and Avery Bradley. What do you think about that? Quickly, just give me your.
I think they're just biding time for the next free agency pool next year. They're just trying to keep themselves available.
And Avery Bradley's a good addition to go in there for Jay Crowder. He'll play defense. He's well rested. He was the guy that opted out of the bubble. He's getting a championship ring from the Lakers. Now he's going to play on the Heat. And like Roland said, he's going to be in the Giannis sweepstakes next year.
And they got another chip on their shoulder. I saw reports saying that people around the league were saying that their finals run was a fluke. So they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder next year, and I expect them to make the playoffs again.
All right. Boston Celtics, players they've lost through trade: Vincent Poirier and Enes Kanter. Free agency loss: Gordon Hayward and Brad Wanamaker. Through the draft: Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard they picked up, and Yam Madar. Free agency: Tristan Thompson, Jack Teague, and Big O Taco Fall.
I like the Tristan Thompson signing. I don't think he's going to, give them 20 points a game or anything like that, but I think they were missing a little bit of a defensive presence in the post. That's kind of where they lost out a lot of the time throughout their run in the playoffs. So I like the Celtics. I was high on them last year and in the bubble. So Tristan Thompson signing is probably the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah. What was weird about that was that Gordon Hayward opted out of that last year of a lot of money, but then the Hornets went and paid him. Another team that we didn't even mention their addition of Gordon Hayward. So Gordon Hayward will be on the Hornets now as well. Crazy that he opted out. I think he did them a solid, but then maybe he knew he had this big ass contract lined up because I didn't think he was going to get paid like that.
Boy.
Shout out Gordon Hayward's agent.
So yeah, he'll have kids and maybe get that boy eventually.
Mm-hmm.
He insured the longevity in the contract instead of opting into that final year with the Celtics.
All right, let's go to the Nets. Through the trade, they lost Musa. Free agents, they lost Garrett Temple, Jamal Crawford, Justin Anderson, Lance Thomas, Michael Beasley, Wilson Chandler, Chris Chioza, Dante Hall, Tyler Johnson, and Jeremiah Martin. Who they picked up through the draft? Reggie Perry, 57th overall. They made a trade for Bruce Brown and Landry Shamet, and through free agency, Jeff Green from the Rockets.
Hey, Jeff Green's a baller, man.
It's a good pickup.
Yep. I like what the Nets did. Obviously, their moves were made when they got Kevin Durant. So they're just waiting for him to come back from that Achilles injury. See what they end up doing with Spencer Dinwiddie. I know there's been a lot of talk about him not wanting to be there. So that's a potential.
That might be a mid-season trade.
It's a good piece too.
So I'm excited about that. Were you going to talk about another team, Justin? Because there's one I wanted to talk about real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna cover the Clippers, just the top 6 of the odds, the futures odds.
Okay, go for it.
Just Heat, Celtics, Nets, Clippers, Bucks, and Lakers. And then if you have anybody else we want to cover, we'll cover through that. Let's move on to the Clippers. Are you have something, Ben?
Obviously they struck out on Harden if they were really trying, and there was intense talks that if Woj and Shams were reporting it, it's because it was being talked about. I will say that. That kind of got put on hold. They struck out on Serge Ibaka. I thought that would have been a good signing for them. Obviously he's played with Kevin Durant before. That would have been a nice pickup, but yeah, we'll see how KD comes back.
All right. So Clippers players they've lost: Landry Shamet, Rodney McGruder. Free agency: Montrezl Harrell, JaMychal Green, Reggie Jackson, and Jonathan Motley. Who they were able to add through the draft: Daniel Oturo, Jay Scrubb. They traded for Luke Kennard. Free agency: big time Serge Ibaka here, Nicholas Batum, and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, I thought the Clippers had a good offseason. Losing except for losing Shamet and comes
down to is Ibaka better than Harrell? What do you think? That's pretty much what it comes down to.
I think Ibaka, for what they want him for, will probably end up being a better piece than Harrell. Harrell has a big motor. He's a big offensive rebounder. He's improved his offensive game, but I would rather have Serge Ibaka spacing out the floor. They're pretty much maybe a push defensively, give a slight edge to Ibaka. So I think Ibaka is a nice replacement for Montrezl Harrell. You're not going to feel that loss too much, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Does he start or coming off the bench, Roland? What are your thoughts?
Shoot, I don't know who else they have on that lineup, but I'd assume that
the center. Center?
No, power forward maybe. I mean, have who's their starting point guard? Patrick Beverley, George, Leonard,
Kawhi,
Ibaka, and then Zubac. I think if he's still there, that might be their starting 5.
He's played with Kawhi. I mean, they won a championship together with the Raptors, so it makes sense, man. I think that it's a better fit than Montrezl Harrell was, for the most part, defensively. I know that the small Clippers is kind of like their thing. Also, they're one of the smaller teams. Montrezl Harrell was kind of undersized. They would play him at the center. They'd bring him in for Zubac, and he's just not going to have a chance against AD defensively. So Serge Ibaka brings experience. He's a champ. He brings that. He can, extend the floor with his jumper. He can stretch it out to the 3-point line, something Harrell couldn't really do. I like it. I think it fits. It's a good piece.
All right. Moving on to the Bucks, who they lost through trade: Eric Bledsoe, George Hill. Free agency: Wesley Matthews, Sterling Brown, Robin Lopez, Kyle Korver, Frank Mason, Cameron Reynolds. They waived Ilyasova, and Marvin Williams retired. Through the draft, they were able to pick Jordan Nwora, Sam Merrill, Ray John Tucker. Through trade, they got Drew Holiday. Free agency pickups: DJ Augustine, Nick Stauskas, Bobby Portis, and Jalen Adams. Made some moves.
Giannis is not going to stay with the Bucks after this year. I like the Drew Holiday pickup. I'm a big Drew Holiday fan. I think he's probably one of the most underrated players that we have in the league. He's probably he's a top, honestly, in my opinion, he's a top 5, like two-way kind of point guard. He can D up 1 through 4.
Roland is big on Drew Holiday.
I love Drew Holiday and his game, what he brings to the table. He's an upgrade over Eric Bledsoe, in my opinion.
I'll agree there.
I think the Bucks missed out, though, on Bogdan Bogdanovic. That was the big whiff that they had on that sign and trade.
So, Roland, Bogdanovic keeps Giannis as a Buck?
Giannis apparently wanted him there. Giannis liked him enough, and Bogdan he's a baller, man. He's a shooter. He can play. I've watched him in the last. What was the last international basketball cup that was going on when he was playing for Serbia? Yeah, he played real past year. Giannis wanted him there.
He hit a game there on the Rockets.
So, with all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Giannis will not be a Milwaukee Buck longer than this year. I think they're going to try and hold on to him, but he's going to be gone.
Will he go to the Heat or to the Mavs?
He's going to go to the Lakers. We'll get into that a little bit later.
They can't with those contracts that they
Yes, they can.
No, they can't.
I already talked to some of the Lakers contracts guys.
Unless the fucking salary cap goes up
capologists.
$100 million.
Yeah, they explained what trades would have to be done, but it can be done. I'm sorry, man. Trade AD to bring in. No, you don't have to trade AD.
Trade LeBron to bring in Giannis.
They're going to draft Bronny too.
They're going to have
AD's contract's backloaded, and there's some money to be moved. It'll happen, and we're gonna lose. What's his name? Off the cap, off the book. Finally,
accountant over here.
Hey, don't be mad because I informed myself. That's good for you in the podcast, buddy.
Hell no. There's 0% fucking chance he goes to the Lakers.
Hey, we have a little leak. We have a topic coming up on that.
0. He's going to the Miami Heat. And it would be smart for him to go to the Mavs, but I think the Mavs are going to fucking strike out because Giannis doesn't want to be in Texas. He doesn't want to be in Texas.
Him and Luka, though, that would be a nice little pairing.
But he don't want to be in Texas. He'll go to Miami and fucking live.
And then again, he'd be walking away from quite a bit of money in Milwaukee because
people have done it.
Supermax, yeah. When he's marketable, he can make his money elsewhere.
Yeah, he wouldn't be the first.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Lakers. Who they lost? Danny Green through trade. JaVale
Big loss.
Free agency: Rajon Rondo, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, and they waived QC Quinn Cook.
Oh, damn.
Who they were to pick up? Free agency: Montrezl Harrell, Wesley Matthews, Marc Gasol. They re-signed Markieff. They re-signed Jared Dudley. This is why Giannis is going to the Bucks. I mean,
sounds like you let go of a lot. You lost a lot of
Kostas. Coach Antetokounmpo is there, and the big signing today, $190 million, Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
New trade: Dennis Schroeder, Jordan Bell, and Alfonso McKinney. Contracts that can be waived next year.
I love their offseason, man. The Lakers, they're the odds-on favorite to repeat, and there's no disagreement for me here. I like what they've done with their offseason. I like Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell. I think has wanted to play with LeBron James, Wesley Matthews. I think is a plus on Danny Green. And they, again, like Justin said, they re-signed Anthony Davis for 5 years, 5 years, 190. Shout out to Rich Paul. I saw some great agent.
He got fucking paid with LeBron and his contract.
It's a name and a description. Rich Paul is his name and a description. Rich. Paul. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, he did LeBron's contract and AD's contract a day apart. So I don't know how much percentage he gets of that shit, but he got fucking paid.
Shout out Clutch Sports.
And then he has Montrezl Harrell under contract too.
It sounds like, it just sounds like the Lakers lost
under contract with him too.
They lost a bunch of champions, and they lost Rondo, they lost Dwight Howard, they lost a lot of champions. KCP came back. We don't know.
He's a champion. He's there now.
Oh, he's washed. That dude there's a reason he's there. He's washed. The point is, bro, the Lakers are odds-on favorites to repeat. Obviously, it's going to run through there, but something crazy is going to happen mid-season because it's the NBA, and it's just
what's going to happen.
I don't know if it's going to. If Harden gets traded to the Nets, I would favor the Nets to beat the Lakers. If it's Harden, KD, and Kyrie.
Yeah, we've got to see how KD comes back. But then again, the word on him too is that he looks good. He looks like KD. So,
Roland, was there a team that we didn't cover that you wanted to hit real quick?
Yeah, I want to talk about them because whenever we get to our too early predictions, I'm probably going to bring them up again. But I like what the Atlanta Hawks have done this offseason. We mentioned Rajon Rondo leaving the Lakers. He ended up on the Atlanta Hawks. That's a good piece to I guess, mentor and be behind Trae Young. That's a good guy to handle the second group. They got Danilo Gallinari from the Oklahoma City Thunder, a guy that I'm pretty high on. I like what he brings to the table. He's a 3 at 4, and he can maybe play the 5 in some lineups, and he can take the ball off the dribble. He's a plus 3-point shooter. I like Danilo Gallinari's game a lot. Chris Dunn from the Bulls, and then the guy that we mentioned earlier with the Bucks missing out on, they got Bogdan Bogdanovic. So I love that. And then I think last year they added.
It'll be Clint Capella's first game.
Capella. There you go. Yeah, Clint Capella. So
their
like
starting lineup. They're
trending.
Lineup will be Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari, Trae Young, Bogdan. You think he's a starter?
Oh yeah, Bogdan's starting. And then they got that Kevin Huerter guy that everybody likes over there in Atlanta.
Yeah. They got Cam Reddish. They got John Collins.
John Collins didn't even bring him up. Yeah. That's a squad right there, man.
They got bodies.
I'm liking what I see for Atlanta right now.
That's a squad. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of their city edition jerseys, though. The MLK. That's cool, paying homage to MLK, but they could have gone cooler on the jerseys.
I haven't seen it.
I think I'm going to get a Rockets one because they came out like
the Oilers. I like that look.
The Oilers, bro, that was sick.
But the Spurs, man, they won that.
I'm going to get my boy Christian Wood.
I already got my jersey. I ordered it. It sucks, so I'm not going to get it till February. What the hell?
But, wait.
Yeah, that Fiesta jersey is hard. I mean,
but yeah, the Hawks. That's my team that I like as far as their offseason moves that we didn't talk about. I like the Hawks a lot.
We haven't even talked about the biggest move of the offseason, bro.
Who is it?
Christian Wood.
Oh, you had your chance to talk about it. We talked about the Rockets shaking things up.
Yeah, with the John Wall trade, bro. But the bigger move was getting Christian Wood. I know that nobody knows about him because ESPN hasn't told y'all about him yet. But he's going to be on a lot of top 10s this year, playing pick and roll. It's Clint Capella on steroids that we got, bro. This dude has been around, played for 3 teams in Asia, was an undrafted guy into the league, played for 5 G League teams, got drafted by the 76ers, did a stint with the Pelicans, eventually ended up with the Pistons last year. The Pistons traded Andre Drummond, and Blake Griffin got hurt. So he was getting the starter minutes towards the end of the year when the season was going into COVID. And throughout that stretch, 21.9 points a game, 9.4 rebounds, and he shot 40% from 3. He's a big man. He came out of UNLV. He's only 25 years old, very athletic, long, lanky, can put the ball on the floor. I'm excited, bro. The alley-oop is going to be back in Houston. With John Wall and James Harden both running the pick and roll with him. I said he shot 40%. He can pick and pop. I don't know what the hell the Pistons were doing. Like, they gave one of the Plumlees a crazy ass deal. They were signing every center but the guy that they had there. I like it a lot. And he had been running with James Harden also in the summer. So I'm looking forward to it a lot, bro. I'm expecting like 19 points, 10 rebounds. He's going to be our starting center from day one. Most improved player. Calling it.
I'm glad you're hiring him, man. I'm glad.
Now it's just got to pan out.
What do we got next?
All right. Anybody else that you all want to talk about off-season moves? Anything big that you saw that, hey, we didn't cover real quick?
No, honestly, I wanted to make sure to bring up the Atlanta Hawks, and I think we covered the top 6 teams.
It was great that you did. I can't believe I didn't think
to. Some teams that didn't do much and were playoff teams last year. I'll just talk about that in the West. The Nuggets lost Grant, which I think was a pretty big loss for them.
Jeremiah Grant, yeah.
He played really well for them in the bubble, and he actually signed a pretty good deal with the Pistons.
The Suns signing Chris Paul.
The Suns signed Chris Paul, which was big. I think a guy that'll work really well with Devin Booker. Ricky Rubio's back with the Timberwolves. He ended up with the Timberwolves somehow in that fucking trade.
Point guard.
Adams got traded. Steven Adams, right? Got traded to Philadelphia. To New Orleans. So he'll be there with Zion, mentoring Zion. I think that's a good fit. The Rockets traded Robert Covington to the Blazers for 2 first-round picks.
A good pickup for the Blazers.
A good pickup for the Blazers. He'll be in their starting lineup. The Jazz didn't do much. The Mavs didn't do much. And Kristaps Porzingis, they said he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. So the Mavs just all in for next year's offseason?
Yep, it seems to be what they're doing. I think that's
too. So
that's historically been their MO. Is loading up for these big free agents.
It's just kind of weird though, because they had good success. Like Luka seems like he might be in the MVP conversation maybe this year, if not next year. But you would think that they would just try and get him help as soon as possible.
Yeah, but I mean,
other teams getting better in the West, and they're not getting
big names.
I don't know. I think it's weird. Other teams getting better, and they're just staying put with obviously one of the brighter young stars in the NBA. And just weird situation.
Yeah, and I don't know. Is Luka 100% also? I know he had some nagging.
He's good. He's good.
The bubble.
Porzingis obviously tearing his ACL in the short return. He's not going to be ready for the start of the year. So we'll see. We'll see if they're a playoff team.
All right.
The Suns are definitely going to be trying to sneak in there. The Blazers are going to be in there.
Well, they're keeping the play-in format.
They are. Okay.
So there's going to be some drama, late season drama for sure. I think the Suns are everybody's trendy pick to go ahead and make that jump into the playoffs in the West.
Well,
although Spurs will have something to say about that. I will say that.
They didn't do anything this offseason.
No, they didn't. But I think
they're going all in for next year.
They're going all in for next year. They showed a lot in the bubble. They're going to be one of the teams with the most cap space next year for sure. I think the Spurs will make a little bit of a run. We're going to see a little bit more of their young guys, I think, playing a little bit more. They got rid of Marco Bellinelli, who was stealing minutes from like guys like Lonnie Walker. No excuse for that. But excited for the Spurs, and I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with the Hawks, man. I think the Hawks make the playoffs in the East this year.
What jersey did you get your city edition?
I got them in my name, man. I got it in my name. I'll tell you that much because
ain't no Spur worthy of that shit.
I'm traumatized, man. The last time I bought a Spurs jersey, just to give you guys a little story, opening night 2017, I think was the year. Spurs had a great outlook. It's Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge and everything like that. And opening night, I'm like, you know what? I went to the game. I'm there in the NBA shop. I want to buy a jersey. I was going to buy a Manu jersey. It was the last year that Manu was there. And I should have, now that I'm thinking about it.
Not doing that.
But I was like, you know what? Let me get the best player on the fucking team. My guy, finals MVP, one of my favorite players at the time, Kawhi Leonard. I got his jersey, paid a premium because I'm there at the arena, paid about $150 on the spot. I wore it that day, and he played 8 games that season and left. So now I'm just like, you know what? I'm not doing that again. That jersey, I wore it one time. It was at that game because I bought it there. I'm never doing it again. So I bought a Spurs jersey this year, and I just customized it and put my name on the back of it. So
what number did you go with?
Number 24.
All right.
So got to do it.
All right, let's move on. NBA reset for December 22nd. That's where we're gonna have it come back. They will be back in the real world, no longer in the bubble. And when they did do the whole comeback and sent the people back, 48 players ended up testing positive in that re-entry testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those 48 will have to quarantine for those 14 days.
That's almost 10% of the league testing positive right there. It's a pretty big number. But we talked about it when the bubble was going on. The NBA had the best, protocol. I mean, out of any league out there. They kept all of their guys safe. This is a little bit different now because they're going to be out in the open, like Justin said, and I think they do have plans to eventually bring back fans into the stands in the 2020 and 2021 season.
The Lakers are not.
Well, because I don't know, LA, they just shut everything down. The San Francisco 49ers, we'll talk about football a little bit later, but the 49ers can't even practice.
Contact rule.
They have to. Now. They're in Arizona, exactly. So LA, things are getting bad out there, and some of the worst hit counties are shutting things down, telling people to stay home. See how that plays out for the Lakers. It didn't stop the Lakers last time, though, because they were practicing throughout the whole pandemic when they weren't supposed to be. That's probably why they ended up winning the title. They were playing in some rich guy's mansion in Beverly Hills, who obviously he had a replica Staples Center in his backyard just chilling. So
were they wearing masks?
Probably not, but hey, it's LA. They do what they want over there, especially when you got LeBron James, man.
No wonder Joe Rogan left.
What is Joe Rogan? He's in Austin, or is he just in Texas? He's in Austin, right?
Down back to reality.
That new setup though is pretty cool for Joe Rogan.
Speaking of Joe Rogan, if you're a fan of his podcast, you can no longer listen to it anywhere but on Spotify.
Yep,
he's out. He's off of Apple now.
The Joe Budden podcast, and they're not even on Spotify anymore.
What about YouTube?
They're taking off a lot of episodes. All his MMA episodes are pretty much gone. There's a few left. It's a big deal. And because Spotify is not available everywhere, and people who are fans of the podcast cannot listen to it.
But I mean, you just have to download it for free. Like the Joe Budden podcast was like that for about a year.
But I'm saying, like, let's say you live another place, another country. Spotify might not be available in that country, and that's the only way to get the Joe Rogan episodes.
Country's problem. Who was his first guest? I knew that was going to be a big deal.
I don't remember. I couldn't tell you.
Wow, Justin.
Maybe Alex Jones.
No, doubt it.
There was a lot going on this week with that. A lot of highlights. All right, moving on. So this was it this week? Giannis, they're talking about him being the best in the world, and he said, "No, I'm not the best in the world. That title belongs to King James."
LeBron James, man. You gotta give it to him. He's still the GOAT. He's still the best player in the league.
Is that just, is that Giannis just, touching up on, hey, I'm coming over, it's going to be your team, LeBron, and,
That's that's just him being fucking humbled. He's a back-to-back MVP, and he got bounced before the fucking Eastern Conference Finals. He's just being humbled.
So nothing to look at it there. Nothing at all.
He's going to end up on the Lakers because he loves LeBron James. That's his idol. He already said it. He wants to play with LeBron James. I know it's there. But I agree with him. LeBron James is the best player in the league. He proved it.
Yeah, maybe he's just speaking facts. Like maybe there's just nothing to it. He's just no, that's not why you're asking. You want to hear something else.
He's speaking cold hard facts.
I wish I want to hear something else. I want to hear what Roland's saying a little more, but you have your chance to talk too.
LeBron proved it. And he called him his idol. So that's the only reason why I'm like, God, like maybe he does want to go play with him because he called him his idol. Like you don't just say that about another active player. But a lot of guys grew up on LeBron James that are in the league. LeBron James has been in the league 17 years.
He's our Jordan, for these guys.
Exactly. So and he proved it in the playoffs, man. LeBron James, I was kind of like, the first 5 games of the bubble, I'm like, I don't know about the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. I tweeted out there, and I probably went back and deleted it because it's such a tweet.
Wow, you're a deleter, bro?
I said LeBron James does not want to smoke with Kawhi Leonard. I said that. I tweeted that. Felt like an idiot, man. When you see the Clippers go down in flames like that and LeBron James has his team humming, that's GOAT status right there.
Hey, Roland, don't delete tweets, bro. Let that.
I don't think I deleted it, but it was a bad tweet.
Just make fleets now, all right? That way you don't have to delete it. Just make
in
fleets.
hindsight, very bad tweet, and we'll get to the Clippers a little bit because I need to go off.
We're about to talk a little Clippers right here.
Roland, are you a fleeter, Roland? Have you?
I don't even know what fleet is, dude. I've recently re-downloaded the Twitter app because I like the web. I like being on the web on Twitter, and I'd look up and I see all this story stuff, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
I still haven't updated, so I don't see it.
That's weird. I
don't know.
I went back to web-based Twitter.
You're a fleeter.
I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what a fleet. I think it's the Twitter version.
All Lakers fans are fleeters.
Anyway, so like Ben was talking about all the smoke podcasts this week. Paul George was on.
Fucking loser.
And I saw a tweet that said,
You better chill.
did the Clippers stop paying these players because it seems like everyone's just pooping on the Clippers organization right now?
Shitting on them.
Yeah, and
Rightfully
Paul
so,
George
though.
was one to do it, saying Doc
Roller
Rivers
boy.
misused me, had me doing a lot of Ray Allen stuff, and I'm more of a pick and pop kind of guy. I need some moves. I got to be used differently. What do you make out of that?
Look, Paul George, first and foremost, is not my boy. I like his tennis shoes. He has good basketball shoes, and they're at a good price point.
He's not my boy, but I wear PG-13.
I'll buy his shoes. They're good. They're good.
Yeah, I
shoes.
wear Kyrie's shoes, but I'm not Kyrie's.
Nah, he's your boy then. He's your
not my
boy.
boy.
Get out of here, bro.
I only bought my boy.
Man, playoff P,
Well,
way
then
off
LeBron's your boy
P.
for sure.
Damn
He
right.
does himself no favors in these situations because not only does it look bad, him talking bad about his former coach, who you can't really find too many people to say a bad thing about, Doc Rivers, but also he's straight lying. He's lying. He ran the most pick and roll in his whole career this year.
43%.
He ran the most pick and roll his whole career this year, and he wants to come and cry about this stuff. Paul George, just take your lickings like a man and just move on and become better. You're a plus player in this league. When you want to be, when you're on your top of your game, you're a top 15 player, maybe even creep into the top 10 when you're playing really, really good. But you have these horrible games at the worst possible time. You disappear. You have Kawhi Leonard looking at you like he doesn't even want to be in the same arena as you at times. And you come out and you say stuff like this. It just doesn't look good. I don't like it. I'm not a big Doc Rivers fan by any means, but don't talk about the guy after he leaves like that. And plus, with all the reports that were going out about how he's coddled with Kawhi Leonard, they're the only guys with personal security and what
Changing in female locker room.
And they can choose what time they want to practice. They choose when they want to play. And then you come out and say this, it's a bad look, especially when you run the numbers. Somebody ran it. Ben brought up the number 43% of the time he's running pick and roll. Most he's ever done in his career. It sounds like they were trying to appease to him last year, and he just didn't come through. That's all.
Hey, burn your shoes, Roland. Live.
And they're comfortable, man.
Hey, episode 27, you burn one pair, and episode 28, you burn the other one.
And I'll burn the Kawhi Leonard jersey. It's still in my closet, just collecting dust. I'm not a jersey burner though, but I might do it.
I'm not either. I have a Clowney jersey. I actually sold my Ed Reed played 4 games with the Texans, and I got a jersey because
hell yeah, that's Ed Reed, boy. That's Ed Reed.
I sold that jersey for $40, bro. 3 years after he left the Texans.
I would have sold that. I'd have kept that.
Shoot, maybe if Kawhi Leonard wins another MVP or something, or another Finals MVP, I'll sell that jersey for something. But no,
you got to keep that jersey, bro. He won you a title, and he was a Finals MVP. Don't be an ungrateful.
Yeah,
fan.
Don't
be Joker Sapico, all right?
The way that we're not getting into that's not what we're talking about here. But what do you think about Paul George talking crap about Doc Rivers, Ben?
I don't like it. I mean, I talk crap about Doc Rivers all the time, but I wasn't his former son-in-law or his former player.
I didn't even bring that up. And then he got sunned by Seth Curry. Gosh.
Yeah, so I mean, and there was rumors that the Clippers needed a point guard. So Russell Westbrook for Paul George was being rumored at a time also. And I was like, I'm not ready for the fucking slander that comes with that. I'm not. There's no way I'm ready for
a punching bag,
Paul George, and James Harden to be on the same team and all the jokes that went with that, bro. I was not ready for that shit. So I'm glad it didn't happen. Yeah, he's a fool. I'm surprised that Steven Jackson or Matt Barnes didn't check him because they usually keep it pretty real, at least question him about it. I mean, I haven't listened to the episode, so I don't know how all of that went. I'm just not a Paul George fan. But yeah, fuck Paul George.
Bad look. Do you think
at the end of the day, Doc Rivers didn't make that shot off the backboard? That was Paul George. So
yeah, and he's not the one that got sunned by Seth Curry, who's dating his former, I guess, girlfriend or whatever.
Former lady.
Yeah.
Damn. NBA has the most fucking drama.
I love the NBA.
Not TNT where drama lives, or what's TNT?
Yeah, that's it.
Drama or some shit. It's
drama.
NBA.
There's nothing like it.
No drama.
They're part of that. They're part of that loop of the we know drama. It's not just the shows, Law and Order, and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
it's the NBA too.
The NBA is in cahoots with Clutch Sports, though. Let's just put that out on the airwaves so that everybody knows.
Well, it's kind of weird, man, because like LeBron James is partial owner in Clutch Sports, and there's a conflict of interest there for sure.
He owns the NBA, bro. Say it, like pretty much.
He does, but hey, LeBron's he's arguably the GOAT, man.
That's why Daniel House got suspended.
Look, I'm a Jordan is the GOAT
with
guy.
That from the bubble.
If LeBron James wins another 1 or 2 titles, you just can't.
Roland, that's the other thing. I was talking to my buddy Jose, and he's here. Oh, Michael Jordan's the GOAT, and I've been saying LeBron's the GOAT for years. He didn't need to win a fucking title with the Lakers for them to be on board. And now they're saying, oh, back to back. How are you saying he's not the GOAT, but you're already saying that he's going back to back here, bro? Like, come on.
Dude, and again, the one thing that I will say, too, that LeBron James has over Michael – look, I'm just going to throw it. Michael Jordan he's a better natural scorer, and he's 6-0 in the finals. Just throw it out there. Jordan had his trouble getting to the finals. He couldn't beat the Celtics. He couldn't beat the Pistons with the bad boys until they were already a little bit older. And he got, Dennis Rodman to come over and Pippen. We all saw The Last Dance. But anyways, what I was going to say is LeBron James has longevity on Michael Jordan.
Everyone.
He is playing his best basketball at his 17th year. That's unheard of. He's the best player on a championship team in his 17th going into his 18th year. That's unheard of. And he does everything good. Like, the only thing is he's just not as good of a natural scorer as Jordan was. But everything else, LeBron James, you can argue, better than Jordan.
Yeah. Better everything.
All
Except
right.
maybe like last shot clutchness. Fine, I'll give that. But IQ, passing,
defense. Jordan was all defense, so can't really.
And Jose said the same thing. He said, "I'll give LeBron the defense," but Jordan had more all defensive teams than LeBron has had.
Yep.
But LeBron just has those defense, like that block against Andre Iguodala is just tattooed in everybody's brain forever, bro.
One of the greatest defensive plays of all time.
Yeah, that's like to the DK Metcalf thing. Like, that's gonna be tattooed the way DK Metcalf ran down Buda Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, nobody's ever gonna. They were using that for memes on everything. So
oh yeah, that's hilarious.
The LeBron block, yeah. LeBron's a GOAT. Carry on, like my boy Berg says. Carry on.
Dude, that video that Roland sent to Perk today was so fun.
I didn't watch it, man.
Clown,
I hate
bro.
that y'all shit on Perk, bro.
He's a clown.
Hey, Perk, no, but Perk, yeah, but when Perk's defending Kyrie, he was going against Kyrie.
Yeah, he was calling Kyrie. Yeah. Get on
We were siding kind of with Perk, Roland. Don't make me bring back the tape, all right?
Kind of, bro, but
all
not
right.
really.
Oh, what? Roland?
Every now and then, he'll get it right. But
He was also saying that James Harden was so fucking disgruntled and this, and that, and carry on. He'll be a net in no time. Carry on.
All
all right, let's move on here, man. I want to talk about this way too early playoff teams going on. Favorite to win the title, who's the dark horse team to win, and non-playoff team from either conference to make the playoffs. And I know you said the Suns earlier would be the one.
I think that's everybody's. I mean, I would like to say the Pelicans, but I don't know. They got rid of Drew Holiday. Obviously, they're still playing on Christmas Day. Like, the NBA still forcefully spoon feeding Zion Williamson. The West is going to be competitive, man. At the bottom, I think for the most part, the top four will stay the same. I think that it's going to be Lakers, Clippers, Rockets, Jazz, Nuggets, in no particular order, because I don't know how much time LeBron's going to be taking off with the season starting earlier than it is. But I could honestly see the Mavs being one of the teams that fall out of the playoffs this year, depending on how long Kristaps Porzingis is out for with the ACL. And everybody's expecting the Suns to jump in, so I'll just take the easy way out and say the Suns will be the team that get in.
Roland, what about you? Non-conference from either conference, what team that didn't make the playoffs this year that will make it this year?
The West, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I disconnected. The West, I'm going to be a homer because I doubted them last year, and they actually played pretty good in the bubble. It wasn't for how low that they started. They probably would have been in a good spot to make the playoffs, but I'm going to go with the Spurs. I think they're going to come back playing similar ball to how they've been playing previous to this past year. And I was saying it earlier today. It really just comes down to personnel. I think they got a little bit more of their personnel that they want. They got some guys buying into the new way of playing ball, taking more threes. DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge is going to want to play more, shoot the ball a little bit more. And I think we're going to see a big jump from some of these young guys. A name Keldon Johnson, but a name that I
really want Keldon.
And
he's motivated for some other reason.
A lot of Spurs guys are high on this guy, and I'm high on him too, is Derek White. I mean, everybody else likes or I forgot what the other guy's name. I'm blanking out on him, but Keldon Johnson. I'm a very big.
How many Keldon Johnson cards do you own?
I'm a big Derek White guy. He's
not going to be ready for the start of the season, Roland.
Who, Derek White? He's hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well,
he got hurt in the bubble. Remember, he didn't finish the bubble.
No, that's true. I like the Spurs' chances if they're healthy, and you got the guys like DeMar DeRozan and freaking LaMarcus Aldridge buying into the system of taking a little bit more three-point shots.
Really disappointed that they didn't get rid of one of those two guys this offseason. Really disappointed.
Yeah, but, you got to think about it, too. These guys are both proven veterans in the league, and they're both guys that have proven to be B-plus, A-minus players in the league. And if you're not going to get a good return for them and they want to come back and play, you got to let them play. And LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, I don't know if LaMarcus is going to finish his career in San Antonio because I think he still wants to go play for a contender and try and win a championship.
There was rumors of him to the Warriors.
Yeah, that's true. There was rumors of that, and that could have happened maybe if some injuries don't happen.
Or if they give him the number 2 pick, which would have been kind of steep because then the Spurs probably draft Wiseman also. Big man. It was, and then DeRozan. Lakers fans tried stirring up rumors that DeRozan wanted to go play for the Lakers also. And
LA guy, so that's an easy rumor to start for sure.
They could possibly trade for. No, there was rumors about trading for DeRozan from the Lakers.
And then it went away.
Package. Well, yeah.
I got the Spurs making the playoffs in the West, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm sticking to it. Atlanta Hawks will make the playoffs in the East. I like their moves.
I'm gonna go with Charlotte to get in the playoffs. AC, they'll barely whatever. They'll barely get in, but I'm gonna go with Charlotte to jump in there.
All right, let's talk about dark horse team to win the title.
Damn, dark horse team to win the title.
No brainer, bro.
Let me pull up these odds real quick.
What are you gonna say, the Rockets?
At those odds? I mean, who else are you taking at those odds?
Dark horse team, man. It's probably gonna have to say I think the Celtics. They're gonna be dark horse team.
Roland, you're going down that alley again?
I have to pick a team. I was gonna say the Nets. The Nets.
You gotta pick somebody there, man.
Kemba will also not be ready for the season.
Yeah, he's not gonna be ready for the season. But I don't know how if the Nets are considered a dark horse, but
they're not. They're plus 600.
That's what I don't agree with is those odds. Plus 600 is pretty low for a team that we've never seen out on the floor, bro.
Yeah.
You should wait. Those are definitely going to go way up. Do not take the Nets right now.
Yeah. Wait for some early season struggles to take them for sure. Let that number climb.
Listen, man, there's no reason why the Trailblazers, the Suns, the Jazz, the Warriors, the Mavs, the 76ers should have better odds than the Houston Rockets. And
I would have said the Warriors if Klay Thompson wasn't hurt, honestly.
At those odds, it's the Rockets plus 5,000. Ridiculous. They're obviously with those odds, they're expecting James Harden to be traded mid-season.
But I mean, the Rockets, for all intents and purposes, man, since James Harden's been there, they've been an automatic 50-plus win team. So
what I'm saying is they're going to be in the second round of the playoffs. So at plus 5,000, that's pretty ridiculous because some of these teams are not going to be in the second round of the playoffs. If James Harden finishes the year with the Rockets will be in the second round of the playoffs. And at plus 5,000, it's crazy that the Blazers have better odds.
And all will be right in the world.
The Suns have it. Exactly. Like, we just want to make the
playoffs. All will be right in the world.
Rockets and Lakers Western Conference Finals.
Any other NBA y'all want to talk about just before we wrap this up?
That's it, bro. We're just going to finish on Rockets Lakers Western Conference Finals.
All right, let's wrap it up then.
You do it to yourself then.
Let's talk a little college football playoff. Man, college football has been struggling with COVID. We had over 90-some cancellations now as far as games go. But what has been released is the playoffs rankings. Number 1, no surprise, Alabama. Number 2, Notre Dame. Here's where I got a little surprised. Number 3, Clemson. I expected Clemson to be 4 just because they lost to Notre Dame, but that didn't happen. And number 4, Ohio State.
Who did you expect to be 4?
I expected Clemson to be 4, Ohio State 3, because Clemson has the one loss to Notre Dame.
But Ohio State's played like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, true. So with those 4, are you good with those rankings, or do you think someone else belongs in that number 4 spot?
I'm good with those rankings. I just think Bama's probably going to end up winning again.
I'd probably sneak in Florida or Ohio State.
There you go.
Okay, with Trask and those guys, and he's probably favored to win the Heisman.
The Buckeyes aren't even going to be eligible to play in the Big Ten championship game because they're not going to have enough games played.
They're going to be 5-0.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. This college season's been a crapshoot, especially with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 starting so late. I just line up Alabama and Clemson and have them go at it again.
Yeah, why
Damn it, boy. Let's do it, Roland. Make the call. Why are we fucking around with everybody's time?
Exactly.
So there's some
Notre
good
Dame's.
teams.
Yeah.
There's and Roland, the thing is, Notre Dame's going to have to play Clemson again in the ACC championship because Notre Dame joined the ACC this year.
For this year.
And this time it's going to be with Sunshine. And they're going to fuck them up, bro. If they beat them by 30, if Clemson beats Notre Dame by 30, do you keep them in the playoff?
Notre Dame
with the one loss Texas A&M?
I would.
You got to bump down Notre Dame.
Even though they have that win over Clemson also.
Yeah, but it's a win without Trevor Lawrence.
It's a win without 3 of some of the best defensive for Clemson too. Skalski was out. That's their best linebacker. He was out. The safety was out, and their defensive tackle was out.
So
that victory doesn't count.
So if Clemson whoops on Notre Dame in the ACC championship, it's going to be Alabama, Clemson, and who are the other 2 teams? If Ohio State's going to be 5-0, do they get in?
Yeah,
I guess you'd have to put them in.
By default,
One loss Texas A&M team.
BYU.
Let's talk about BYU.
Undefeated BYU team. Undefeated Cincinnati team.
Cincinnati's looking good too, man.
Cincinnati's also in the top of the rankings and might just get jibbed because of the quality of schedule.
Yeah, so right now BYU, they had a team that they were going to play. It looks like that team's not going to be able to make it. So Coastal Carolina, which is an undefeated team, BYU, which is an undefeated team, and BYU is looking real good as far as these undefeated teams go. I think I'd even like them more than Cincinnati. They decided, hey, let's go meet BYU versus Coastal Carolina. Maybe the winner could be considered for that 4th spot.
It was actually Justin Coastal Carolina had an opponent.
Or Liberty, right?
And that was going to be a crazy game because Liberty is, I believe, undefeated as well this season.
Yeah.
So Liberty got COVID. Their starting quarterback, couldn't go. BYU looking to just jump up in the rankings, get their strength of schedule higher. Hey, we'll play y'all. I believe that they tried this last week with somebody also.
Yeah, I like this though. I like that they're doing this.
And they have a quarterback, man, that a lot of people like. He's been lighting it up, Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
BYU, if they win this game, I could see them jumping. Whoever wins this game, because Coastal Carolina's in the top 15 as well. Whoever wins this game, I could see jumping into the top 10. Now, whether you give one of these teams, a seat at the table, I don't know, but it's going to be a fun game.
They're definitely fighting for that seat with this game, though.
Yeah, that'll be before the Alabama and LSU game this weekend. So it'll be
Alabama opened up like 28 points on LSU.
I'm just saying it'll be a good game to lead you into the Bama route.
Yeah, the Bama route. Rumor mill, big time rumor. One of the guys that we follow,
big rumor,
Beating the Bookie, talked about it today. And he said someone that he talks to that was a big Texas guy, someone that's reputable. Urban Meyer to Texas for around $11 million a year, making it the richest college football contract. Supposedly, it would be announced after the season ends for Texas. And on the Texas Longhorn forums, Urban Meyer today recorded a video for Fox.
Yeah.
And the Texas Longhorn forum detectives that are out there were able to piece that he was in Austin. They were able to show that the hotel, the curtain, the seat, everything they were able to detail. So it looks like there could be some traction to this rumor.
There's
Now,
definitely
we've
traction.
heard it before. We've heard it before. Texas is back. Texas is back.
And they've even questioned Tom Herman about it. I know Roland sent us a clip maybe a couple of weeks ago of them straight up questioning Tom Herman about if, he's worried about the rumors that he's heard of Urban Meyer coming to Texas. And I mean, all signs, Texas, they need it, bro. I mean, they can't, they need it. This losing shit, Texas ain't with it. And it sounds like they're just breaking out the piggy bank for this one. And if there's a guy that's going to get you right, I guarantee you're not going to miss with Urban Meyer.
No.
He's going to get you the right quarterback because he always does. He's going to get the quarterback that's going to have him there. He always does. It has to be done. That's why they're making him the richest college coach when it becomes official. Obviously, when the season's over, because that's formal, Tom Herman, maybe they just don't want to can him out of respect. You know what I mean?
They let buyouts like $15 million though.
Didn't they let Charlie Strong finish the season as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
They didn't can him mid-season, so they're at least giving him the benefit of the doubt for that. But yeah, it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
So y'all like this? You like the odds on this one?
Love it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen. Tom Herman, he's toast in Texas. So you already get people asking questions like that in your presser, and your response is, oh, well, it's taken away from recruiting and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you should win some football games, and, that wouldn't be a question. And you have a Sam Ehlinger, who's probably one of the most, how can I say this? He's a gentleman. Like, you're not going to get Sam Ehlinger to say a lot of bad things or say anything that's, detrimental to the team. And, he came out and he said that he was just, ultimately frustrated that he felt like these Texas teams that he's been on have had the talent, and they're just not able to put it together. And he's extremely frustrated that that's the way that his career panned out at Texas. So Sam Ehlinger, I said I'm not the biggest fan of Sam Ehlinger, but I do think he's talented enough to lead a team if you've got the talent around him and ultimately, college team, exactly. And probably win a Big 12 championship or, be in the Final Four. But Texas was never able to take that leap. And when you got Sam Ehlinger saying that, maybe he's saying it because he's already on the way out as a senior, but nonetheless, he's a respectable kid who would probably never say anything like that. And you got him saying stuff that he's ultimately frustrated that they were never able to put it together. And you have Texas, which is the best recruiting hotbed out there other than, maybe California or Florida, and you can't put it together. Yeah, Tom Herman's toast. And Urban Meyer, like Ben said, he's not going to miss. He's one of our generation's greatest of all time, if not an all-time.
He's held in the same standard as Nick Saban is.
His head-to-head record against Saban's better too.
And he'd be one of the first, I think, if not one of the first. If he'd probably be the first guy to win a championship with 3 programs: Florida, Ohio State, and then maybe Texas.
And look what he did with Utah too.
Yeah, he was there at Utah with Alex Smith, got to the Fiesta Bowl.
He'll do whatever it takes, baby.
And yeah, he will. He'll push some stuff to the side, acting like he didn't see it and blame it on his wife too. You gotta throw that out there. But Texas fans, you guys can stop crying. You guys can stop badgering me because I have a bunch of friends that are Texas fans. Oh, this is a year. This is a year. This is a year. Texas is back. They beat a weird team in Notre Dame that one year with Charlie Strong. I could have sworn they were back that year.
That was a good one.
My gosh. And then the LSU game. Oh my gosh, we were so close to beating Joe Burrow.
We were.
But you know what? At least this time you guys have some solid grounding to go off of because Urban Meyer is a top 5 coach of all time, maybe. And he's a guy that's going to get it done. And you put him in Texas.
Was a good recruiter, but just did not develop the players. He's got to go. So it is what it is. All right.
I'm tired of seeing all these players from Texas playing at all these other.
Exactly. That's the other thing. You got to keep some of those homegrown guys.
Urban Meyer will keep him here, bro. Just off of his name, he'll keep him here.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the NFL. Ben, what's going on? 2 Texans players testing positive for the juice. One you really don't want to see. Will Fuller. I know he gave his reasoning. It seemed like he was genuine. It was a mistake.
It seemed like a mamada to me.
You think so? I want to hear a Texans fan's perspective.
I mean, I'm more excited about not these two players, but our 2-game winning streak. Cuz all right,
Nah, but that's good, but let's talk about these players. Will Fuller, though.
yeah, I mean, Will Fuller obviously was having a career year.
After you wrote him off on the podcast,
I did, and for a reason, he was on the juice. I knew it all along. I knew it all along. I knew this rat bastard. I knew he was doing something fishy.
Oh,
There's no way. There's no way. I called him done, and then he got on the juice, and all of a sudden he was a beast. So the truth came out. The one that I was really surprised was Bradley Roby. I don't know if these dudes are just hanging around with Brian Cushing, because I know he's a weight and conditioning guy, and that's as juice head as they come. But just go see a real doctor, guys. I mean, fuck, man. Sad for Will Fuller, and both of them, because it's the rest of the season, 6 games. And Will Fuller was having a beast year, and it's a contract year for him. Definitely a shit stain at the end of your season, which was filled with the really good highlights.
Yeah, that
Big
hurts
question
the
mark.
next year.
I mean, it's an asterisk on his season stats, like that Lakers Finals championship. Asterisks all over.
Yeah, shame to see Will Fuller go down. Especially like Justin pointed out, Ben was telling everybody that had him on their fantasy team to drop him. If you guys dropped him off of Ben's advice, I'm sorry.
If you were relying on him to win you a championship, I'm trying to warn you.
Hey, but he was a top 15 receiver this year. He scored a touchdown in like 8 or 9 games in a row or something stupid like that. Will Fuller was having one of the best years of his career, and he proved he's capable of being a number 1 receiver. But obviously, there was a catch to him staying healthy. He was doing something he probably shouldn't supposed to. And his, like Ben said, go to a real doctor or whatever. His excuse was he trusted somebody, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that was on the banned substance list, and that's how he got popped. But can't expect anything less from the Houston Texans.
Yeah, baby. Better than the Cowboys once again.
All right, looking at the MVP race, I know early on we said Russ. We said Mahomes.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah, and now it just seems like this is Mahomes to lose. I don't know who else can come up.
He's God mode right now, man.
Aaron Rodgers was there for a while, but
I think he's still kind of there. I think Aaron Rodgers is still kind of in the race, but this is Patrick Mahomes' MVP to lose. He's playing ridiculous right now. He's going to have the Chiefs go back to back. Give him the MVP.
All right. Let's look at these divisions right now. I'm going to go with the AFC East. We got the Bills leading that division 8-3. It's still up in the air. We got the Dolphins at 7-4. Now, what do y'all think about the AFC East? Do you think the Bills will close out and end up winning that division? I know they got the Steelers still on that schedule.
Yeah, I like the Bills to finish out and end up winning the AFC East. I know the Dolphins, they're having quarterback questions again. I think Tua's injured, but it's going back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I'm going to stick with the Bills here. I think they're going to end up getting it done towards the end of the year.
Yeah, the Dolphins lost that stupid game they weren't supposed to the Broncos. It would have been very interesting going down the stretch, but they lost that game they weren't supposed to, and it's Josh Allen's to take, just like that MVP trophy, baby. Hey, another year, though, that Russell Wilson will probably not get one MVP vote, man. What a shame, right? Got to feel bad for the guy.
All right, let's go on to the AFC West. Chiefs, I think they got that wrapped up. They're at 10-1. Next closest would be the Raiders at 6-5. Raiders do have that one win over the Chiefs, and the Chiefs came back and got theirs over the Raiders. Is that wrapped up for you all in y'all's mind?
Yep, it's wrapped up.
And do you think there's a chance the playoffs will go through Kansas City? Or are we going to go through Pittsburgh?
That's the question right there.
It's going to go through Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh plays the Washington football team.
Yeah.
They play the Bills, who they could potentially lose to. They got the Bengals. They got the Colts, who they'll probably beat. They got the Colts coming into Pittsburgh, so I take them there.
Phillip Rivers can't handle that.
And then they play the Browns to finish off the season. So I'm going to go with the Steelers. The only thing that's concerning with me about that team is it seems like they play down kind of their competition at times. But I have to give them credit, though, because people were trying to say that they had a soft cupcake schedule. But at the end of the day, you're playing against NFL players. I mean, you're lining up against NFL players each week. So got to give them respect for going 11-0. And Mike Tomlin, he needs his flowers.
Yeah, there you go. AFC North, Steelers 11-0, Browns 8-3, and I think the surprise here for a lot of us, Ravens at 6-5. I think we had the Ravens in high regards. I know Ben was super, super high on Lamar Jackson.
He got COVID, bro. What the fuck? I mean,
that's
Before
not
that-
the whole story, though, right?
it's not like they're gonna miss the playoffs. They're gonna make the playoffs.
Are they now?
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Let me
You
tell
got
you
the
this.
Dolphins at 7-4.
Let me
Raiders
tell-
also at 6-5. Colts at 7-4.
Let me tell you the remaining schedule. They got the
Holy
Cowboys.
Loss? Nah, I'm just playing.
They got the Cowboys, the Browns, the
That might be a
Jags,
loss.
the Jags,
Win.
the Giants,
Probably a win.
the Bengals.
Win.
So they could easily go 5-0 because that Browns game, I know you said it's a loss, but that's a toss-up. And the Cowboys, Jaguars, Giants, and Bengals are all cupcake. So if they finish off 5-0, they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. Their schedule's too easy.
Justin's tripping. Exactly. I've been trying to say that.
No, I'm saying I'm just questioning you. I want to
But
know
I
why.
think that it'll go. The AFC will go through Kansas City.
Okay.
I don't know what the tiebreaker is going to come down to exactly. Do you know what it would come down to, Roland? Would it come down to division record? Because if the Steelers lose to the Bills and they beat the Browns, then they would be undefeated in their division, and the Chiefs' one loss is to the Raiders.
That's what it would come down to.
Okay, so that might be a problem. Then the Steelers got to lose twice, or if not lose to the Browns and lose to the Bills.
See what happens with their offensive line situation. I know
And they
Marquise
lost Bud
County
Dupree as well,
and Bud Dupree got ACL tear. Yeah.
which was big because him on the other side of Watt was very big.
All right, AFC South, the Titans 8-3, Colts 7-4, and your super hot 2 wins in a row, Texans at 4-7.
That's right. Does it matter where the AFC goes through? Like, I mean,
The Chiefs are going to win.
okay, so it doesn't matter.
So what? But what about the AFC South? Who's that wrapped up?
The AFC South, I think that the Titans are going to win the AFC South. They still have 2 games left against the Texans. Obviously, now we're out. We cut Kenny Stills maybe last week.
It was like a mutual cut, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It was like good terms. Like, I'm just going to go up. Hopefully now they re-sign him. Fuck, who knows? Brandon Cooks has been playing well, but he's like the clear number 1. And after him is going to be Kiki Kuti and Randall Cobb. Kuti's a sneaky fantasy pickup as well, especially if you're in full point PPR, because he's going to get at least 6-7 receptions this coming week. But yeah, it's going to be tough for the Texans without Fuller. David Johnson, he might be coming back from his concussion this week. Hopefully not, because I have Duke Johnson and I need him to start. But we have 2 games against the Titans coming up, which is why I say the Titans win the division, because I think that the Titans are going to be favored maybe 5-6 points, if not a touchdown, in those games against the Texans. So, yeah, I got the Titans winning the AFC South.
I'm going to agree here.
Moving on to the hottest division in football, NFC East. My bad. You got the Giants winning 4-7 right now, leading that division, with the Washington football team 4-7, and you got the Eagles 3-7, and somehow I think still in the hunt, Cowboys at 3-8. Who's gonna win this toss-up of a division?
Man, I don't know. I like the Washington football team, but after looking at the schedule, I'm just going to stick with the Washington football team. I don't even know who's going to win. The schedule is kind of tough for them, from what I can tell. They got a game.
Daniel Jones is out for Giants too.
They're playing the Steelers. They're playing the Steelers. They play the Niners. They play the Seahawks. They play the Panthers, and they play the Eagles. So I see 2 wins out of those. Maybe 3 if they can beat the 49ers for the Washington football team.
Would be the most important win. You think they beat the Eagles?
Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Eagles anymore. I'm all out on them.
I think Washington gets in. And crazy, because with Alex Smith as their fucking starting quarterback.
What a story. What a story.
The Giants play the Seahawks this week. So, I mean, they're going to lose there without Daniel Jones. The Giants' schedule is actually pretty tough. Also, they got the Cardinals after that. Then they have the Browns. Then they have the Ravens. So the Giants might not win another game until they finish the season off against the Cowboys. I think that it's the Washington football team's division.
They got a good defense in Washington too.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty decent defense. You got Chase Young, who's looking like a pretty good.
And Gibson has been sneaky good, man, at running back. Fantasy monster.
Shit, 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys.
Yeah,
so it's going to be just the same thing as far as the NFC East has been a new winner every year, huh?
Do they keep the Washington football team name because they won the division is a real question.
Well, I think they're trying to find something to name themselves. The Foreskins.
Washington NFC East division champs.
All right, let's moving on to the NFC West, which has been one of my favorite divisions to watch, especially watching some of these Seahawks games because it
exciting
seems like
football.
They play to the level of whoever they're playing. Seahawks 8-3, Rams 7-4, Cardinals 6-5, and kind of what I think would be too much of a long shot for the 49ers now without their starting quarterback at 5-6.
Give me the Seahawks, man. They're going to be favored in probably the rest of their games. Maybe make that Rams-Seahawks game PK, but got to favor the Seahawks getting that game in Seattle. The schedule shapes up nicely for the Seahawks. I'm going to give them the edge here. They already have a game lead or half game lead, I think, on the Rams, 8-3 versus 7-4. And that's where I'm going.
Yeah, they wrapped up the division when the Rams lost to the 49ers this past week. That was just
man. That Rams identity is kind of weird. They beat some teams and then they go and lose.
Because Jared Goff sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, game manager. NFC North.
Game manager, but they don't have a running back.
Yeah.
So that's when they suck because they don't have a running back. They don't have Todd Gurley anymore.
I do like the Cardinals. They got 2 games up against the Rams. Maybe they can find themselves into the.
They're 3-point dogs this week at home.
Maybe they can find themselves into the wild card, possibly.
Bad news for DeAndre Hopkins this week, man. Jalen Ramsey's going to lock him down.
NFC North, Packers 8-3, Vikings 5-6. The Bears, who were hot to start the season, completely have fallen off now at 5-6.
Gotcha.
And the Lions, with the new coach, Matt Patricia, has been fired at 4-7. Just like the Packers to win this division.
Yep, we'll wrap it up. They're the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL.
The Bears went back to Trubisky, bro. That's wild.
Well, you saw how Flacco got thrown by Donald.
Not Flacco, Foles.
Foles, yeah, man, that looked bad. It wasn't even Donald. It might have been somebody else.
I didn't know that. But, yeah, it's the Packers. And I do like the Vikings to possibly sneak into the wild card if the Cards don't. They've been
Kirk Cousins playing some pretty good football.
Yeah, they've been playing better.
Yeah, he finally got his Monday night win, guys.
Yeah.
That's something. NFC South, Saints, Drew Breesless, Mr. Break Every Rib. 9-2.
Terrible football to watch.
9-2. Buccaneers 7-5. And I believe the last 2 teams are just too much out of it, with the Falcons at 4-7 and the Panthers at 4-8.
Give me the Saints here, and I was going to make a bold prediction and say the Bucs end up missing the playoffs, but I think they'll find a way to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll get in. The Falcons have been playing a lot better since they fired Dan Quinn as well. They just romped the Raiders this past week. But yeah, this is the Saints. I hope that Drew Brees comes back because it's unbearable. That game of Taysom Hill against whatever that wide receiver that was starting for the Broncos was. I mean, bro, it was like junior high football where it's QB run every play. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Horrible.
All right, let's talk about the Cowboys here a little bit just because, we're a regional podcast. Does a healthy Dak fix the Cowboys' problems, and how much time does McCarthy have? I know Jerry Jones came out this week and said McCarthy's similar situation right now is what Jimmy Johnson went through during his first season.
Bad first season.
A lot of cap or what?
I don't know if it was so much cap. I think Jimmy Johnson, he didn't have a good first season, but, just the way the Cowboys have looked and the whole effort thing, you got guys not really buying into the coaching staff. It's just not a good look. So I wouldn't give him past this next year. I don't think Jerry Jones wants to wait much longer. He's getting up in age. I hope his patience is a little bit shorter for some of these guys, unlike the runway that he gave Jason Garrett. But also with McCarthy, he's got the Dak injury to hold on to. But even with that Dak injury or before the Dak injury, they weren't really playing too good. The defense looked like shit. The defense has gotten a little bit better now, but yeah, just a lost season. Horrible.
Is Dak the answer though?
Man, Dak is, I mean, he was playing lights out before he got hurt, man. And if he comes back and he's, the player that he was before, I think he is the answer. I think he proved that, he can throw the ball with the best of them. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's proven that much. Just unfortunate injury that he took on this past year, that ankle injury. Yeah, got to give Dak Prescott some respect. And, but in the beginning of the year, we did our top quarterback lists, and I think all of us had him and Carson Wentz pretty close together, and they're not even in the same planet. They're not even on the same planet.
And another place where we were wrong was saying Andy Dalton's probably the best backup in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, that was wrong,
I don't know if he's better than Nick Mullins. Honestly, I don't even know if he's better than Nick Mullins.
He just had that one game where he threw that toss-up to Michael Gallup that ended up getting completed, and I think we won that game. Yeah.
Dak had done most of that work already. So.
And Dak is still throwing for more passing yard, which is ridiculous than like five quarterbacks in the league or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I know we got the Steelers undefeated here still. I know we've already talked about it a little bit. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Steelers as far as running the tables? I know on Facebook we had some people come up and I posted about their schedule. And I didn't mean any harm. I know he might have been a
little. What an asshole, bro! You're a dick.
He's a lifelong Steelers fan.
He was honest though. He said that he doesn't think that the AFC goes through Pittsburgh. Yeah. He said he thinks the Steelers finished with 2 losses. That they really don't have an identity running the ball right now, which I agree with. Where the hell has James Conner been? Obviously, he had COVID this week, but it seems like they don't really feed him the ball. Big Ben's throwing 50 sometimes a game. Which, I mean, I know that you got all these new weapons and shit.
They got a good receiving core.
And these young guys. The best receiving core in the NFL. Because, like, Ridley and Julio Jones are up there, but, I mean, these guys are good, bro.
They got 3 guys.
Yeah, they got 3 guys, and they got Ebron as well. Yeah. So, they have a lot of weapons, but they definitely didn't have one of their best games this past Wednesday. Odd playing football on Wednesday game. Yeah, odd. But a lot of drops.
And then they had that stuff where their game got canceled because of the tight ends having COVID and being out and doing crazy shit, not listening to protocols.
They've gotten the shit end of the stick.
That's why Mike Tomlin, not even close, coach of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Very questionable calls, man, but gotta love the way that the team actually respects the guy, and he stays true to himself and his character. He never really folds.
Never wavers. Nope.
Yeah. Shout out Mike Tomlin.
Well, that's it for the NFL for us. We got college basketball to pick up right now, so we'll hit y'all with that just in a second. All right, college basketball's back, man. It's good to have college basketball back, Ben. I know I know Roland, we've been doing some plays on it. But one of the tournaments was the Maui Invitational, and in the championship match was Texas versus North Carolina. Texas ended up getting the win. Texas also looked good against Indiana, with a big win there too. And the first thought on Texas was, man, who's this man on the sidelines with this afro? Find out it's Shaka Smart. Just looks completely different with it.
Got that young kid's blowout.
But, that blowout might be helping Texas right now because they got the win going on.
Yeah, the Super Saiyan hair's got the Longhorns playing Super Saiyan, bro. I like what the Longhorns are doing, man. I paid close attention to that tournament. It was nice because it got me through the workday. It started at noon, 11 o'clock. Texas played Davidson, then they played Indiana, and then they played in the championship against North Carolina. It was awesome, bro. They got a lot of athletes. Greg Brown actually didn't even have that good of a tournament. He got hurt dunking on the first game against Davidson pregame, kind of banged up his wrist, and he really wasn't himself. But the senior pulled through for Texas in the championship game against North Carolina with that lefty step back. Reminded me of Harden when that ball went in, man.
That was nice. What a touch.
It was a nice game winner. He got the shooter's roll, soft rims in Maui, play the overs.
Well, it was in Nashville this time.
Oh, yeah.
Maui.
The tournament was still the Maui Invitational.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was dope, man. I enjoyed it. Texas has a lot of talent. They're very athletic. I know it's going to be hard to compete with Baylor. We saw Baylor take care of Illinois yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw any of that, but they took care of Illinois with
That's
some
nice.
ease in the second half. And Illinois is a top 5 team in the college basketball. Tonight, is it tonight or maybe it's tomorrow, though? Baylor will be playing Gonzaga. Saturday?
That's going to be good.
That's going to be a game that you should definitely check out if you like basketball. That Baylor defense against Gonzaga's offense. Gonzaga yesterday played West Virginia, another team another top-ranked team. Very good game.
Started off slow.
Yeah, very good
West
game.
Virginia was up early.
College basketball is in full swing, man, and the Longhorns are going to be a top 10 team when the new week starts. The Horns will be in the top 10. The Big 12 is going to be good. The Big 10 is going to be good to watch.
I'm high on Gonzaga. I like what they did recruiting. They probably got their best recruit of all time, and Jalen Suggs, who looked like he got injured against West Virginia. Scary injury, but it looks like he's okay. It looks like it was an ankle injury. But that's why I'm going to say they're not going to go undefeated. I'm going to say that Baylor beats them on Saturday, but it's an early season game, so probably not going to have much bearing on the final standings or where they end up at the end of the year, because Gonzaga is still my favorite to win the title.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping for the undefeated season, though, man. They look good. Like, at every position, they got guys that can put the ball in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think about this Virginia losing early in the season already?
San Francisco's a good team. They're good. Yeah. They were playing well last year before the season ended. That's probably my thing with college basketball. I like watching the mid-majors. I pay attention to a lot of the mid-majors. That's where I bet a lot of my money on is the mid-majors. You can find a lot of mismatches there on the lines. There's a lot of close lines when there really shouldn't be. And San Francisco is one of those teams. They're pretty good. So be on the lookout for them as we get closer to March Madness.
The Dons, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Dons, bro.
I think that's where Bill Russell went to school.
Roland actually texted that into our group chat yesterday, I believe. He said San Francisco's good.
Mm-hmm.
Who went to school there, you said, Roland?
Bill Russell.
There you go. Pretty interesting.
The Dons, that's a badass name.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. We got MMA. We got some quick
go.
hitters.
Hell yeah.
Ben, take us through it, baby.
Muscles, man. This week we were supposed to have Kevin Holland against Jack Hermanson.
Shit, that would have been good.
It would have been good, especially because Holland was on a roll. But I don't think that the card took much of a hit as far as who the replacement is.
Vettori.
Yeah, they got the Stallion, the Italian Marvin Vettori replacing Holland. Vettori, obviously a guy who has struggled getting fights with higher ranked people.
Nobody wants to fight the guy.
Yeah, exactly. He struggled. He's been calling out all types of people lately. He was calling out Chris Weidman. They were going back and forth. This is early. It's short notice, so I really don't like it for Vettori. Looking at the line, Jack Hermanson, he's coming off of a leg lock win against Kevin Gastelum. He's been in there with the big names, and here comes Marvin Vettori in his first main event. And he's actually a favorite on short notice to Jack Hermanson.
That's weird.
It caught me by surprise. It definitely caught me by surprise. These are two guys that I like watching for different reasons. Vettori obviously is crazy. He's got attitude problems. We've seen him blowing up on people in hotels for pulling out of fights against him. I like what he brings to the sport. He's MMA to me. He's just one of those meathead dudes who's just down to throw rounds and talk shit. And then you got Jack Hermanson, who's more of a technician. I like all his submissions. Like I said, he won by leg lock against Kelvin Gastelum. A fight where he was underdog as well to Kevin Gastelum. And we all like Gastelum on that fight. And we were ashamed at his performance. You remember that? He didn't even try getting off. And he tapped so quick. So he's been through it. I like Hermanson's 21-5. Marvin Vettori's 15-3-1. So Hermanson also has the experience on him. I don't understand Vettori being the favorite. That's what's throwing me off.
Maybe it's because Hermanson has had to prepare for 3 different opponents, Vettori being the third. That's a lot of change to have to deal with. Going from, who was the first guy? Till? And then going to Holland?
It was Till to Holland.
Till to Holland to Vettori.
Vettori preparing for a 5-round fight on short notice.
And I think there's an injury thing going on too with Hermanson. I think he said that there's something wrong with his toe, because I saw something about him inviting Vettori to step on his toe. He was on a podcast with Okamoto the other day. I caught some of that.
Well, Hermanson as an underdog is what I think that he pulls it
I like
out.
Hermanson to win the fight.
Yeah, and I don't think that this ends in 5 rounds. I think that Hermanson gets it done inside the distance. I think that he just catches something.
Submission, baby. Yep.
What do you think, Just?
I'm gonna go Vittori.
Really?
Because Hermanson's been in the struggle of being sparring with people, and Vittori's gonna come in fresh. I think he's gonna get it done.
Okay. Other fights that are on the card in the light heavyweight division, we got Ovens St. Preux, aka Von Flue. He's coming in to Jamal Hill. He's fighting Jamal Hill. Should be a banger of a fight. Another fight that I don't expect to go to a decision. I expect somebody to be finished. Whether it's Hill knocking out St. Preux or St. Preux catching Hill with submission. Jamal Hill 8-0 is the favorite in this fight. Oven St. Preux 25-14. Obviously the veteran. 8-0 is not enough fights to be in there with Oven St. Preux, I don't believe. So I like St. Preux in this one also as an underdog.
This would be St. Preux's second fight at light heavyweight because he was at heavyweight for a little bit, then he's returning. So
Yeah, correct.
I'm gonna go with St. Preux. This is his natural weight class, is where he should be.
Yeah, give me OSP.
All right. And then another fight. It's not really that good of a. I mean, this fight should be fun in the bantamweight division. Luis Smoka against Jose Quinones. Quinones, the guy who's
because I like Smoka a lot. You know.
Yeah, no, Smoka's really fun. He's always in good fights. His fights always end inside the distance. He's not a decision fighter. Quinones, we've seen in there last against O'Malley. O'Malley smashed him, killed him. Smoka just puts himself in very bad positions, man. This fight's gonna end early. That's for damn sure. And the over-under's 2.5. So I like the under on that one. I don't know who's gonna win. Both of these guys aren't the best, but they do like to brawl. And the scramble should be a lot of fun on the ground with these lighter weight divisions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Smoka. That's my guy. That's what I'm gonna go with.
That's where I'm going to.
All right. Then I'll go Quinones just to be on the opposite side. Fuck it.
All right.
And then in boxing, Justin, I know you're a big Earl Spence guy, right?
Yeah. I love
Oh, but before that, do you guys want to talk about the big boxing match that happened?
Oh, and also that Conor McGregor and Poirier fight's official.
Yeah, January 23rd.
That wasn't official since we've been back. And
Is that Abu Dhabi?
I'm not sure where it is, to be honest, but Conor McGregor being a 2-1 favorite. What do y'all think about that?
I think it's fair. I think it might be a little cheap on Conor since he's already beat Poirier before. That's kind of the mindset that I have.
But we don't expect him to take Poirier to the ground again like before.
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to outclass him on the striking, which is crazy because Poirier is a very respectable, he's top-notch striker
in
himself.
A stand-up fight, yeah. Like I don't want to bet against Poirier in a fight that I know that he's not going to be taken down because he's just tough as fuck.
Yeah, no, it's tough. But I like Conor McGregor in this fight. I think he's going to win. And it's going to be, if it's in Abu Dhabi, it's going to be part of a 3-fight card week. I think Dana White already said that he plans to have a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday kind of deal like he did previously in Abu Dhabi. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But we're about to get into boxing. Justin, do you want to talk about the Nate Robinson and Jake Paul and Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.?
Yeah, so there's this whole Legends League going on, and we got Mike Tyson kind of at the front of it. And with Roy Jones Jr. was his first fight. But on the undercard of that fight, we had Jake Paul, which is
Instagram sensation.
YouTuber, right? Or
YouTuber.
Sensation,
yeah.
Fighting a professional athlete in Nate Robinson, representing the NBA family for the most part. And man, that should never have been scheduled or anything because Nate got it handed to him. It looked worse than Marquez when he knocked out Pacquiao and Pacquiao fell face forward.
I don't know about worse.
It looked that bad because Nate hit his head on the floor just as bad. And I thought this dude's not getting up for a minute.
What was bad?
I mean, the memes.
But
They
he
were
got dropped.
terrible.
That was the third time he got dropped, bro.
He should have.
got
They
dropped
should
in the
have.
first, and then twice in the second to finish it.
He looked done with the first knockdown.
Yeah.
He
But we
looked
gotta give
out
him
of it.
props for still getting up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Nate is a warrior. I mean, we all know what he brought to the NBA when he was playing. Small guy, big heart, not afraid to go at anybody. But gosh, dang it! Like they did not teach him any defense. I mean, granted, it's a.
He had
was
more punches
running
landed.
into jab. Those jabs were haymakers because this fool was throwing his fucking head in there, bro.
Look, I love Nate Robinson, man. Like I said, small guy, big heart, dunk contest champion. Whether or not he stole one of those is another thing. But yeah, that was sad to watch. I really, honestly, I didn't watch the Tyson fight because I felt so bad for Nate Robinson after that. I was like,
no way, you stopped it?
Yeah, I saw. I went to my room, started playing Xbox, and I let my brother watch the rest of it. But yeah, Nate Robinson, man, I feel bad for you. All the NBA players were clowning him too. They were saying that's not a representation of the NBA. Don't put that on us.
He was going hard in the lead up, bro, saying like he called out this dude saying you need to fight a real athlete because he had boxed another.
My favorite tweet was when Nate Robinson said, "I'm about to surprise everybody tonight," and then Steph Curry goes, "Yeah, go ahead," or something like that, and then he comes back. Steph Curry comes back and says, "Well, you weren't lying."
I see no lies. Yeah.
Everybody.
What did y'all think about the commentating before we get to the main event?
You know what? Snoop Dogg's fun, bro, and I think we knew that once we saw him on Dana White's Tuesday Contender Series. But who was the steal of the show was Adesanya. Did a great job commentating. Did a really good job.
I thought Snoop was great, and I know that Triller signed him to a deal, so he's going to be doing commentating for them from now on. But
Triller did such a good job with this show. Like it was
even the performances, bro. They had a lot of people.
It was fun, bro. It was a fun night. It ended up breaking over 1 million buys, and I know that was higher than what they thought. I mean, I can only imagine how much they didn't get due to piracy. So. Probably another million.
That's how I watched it.
Yeah, I pirated that.
Hey, it just shows Mike Tyson's still a draw, man.
Yeah, well, they're saying that Jake Paul and his side was like responsible for a good percentage of that of those buy-ins, about maybe like 40%.
And so Nate Robinson, I mean,
Nate Robinson too. The allure there for the NBA players, but I think there's two questions. Do you think this league that you're talking about, Justin, is going to have some legs moving forward? I saw Evander Holyfield is ready to go. Does he get that trilogy? Or did him and Tyson fight twice? You're going to have to remind me if they only fought once.
I think it was just a one time.
Yeah, okay. But you know what? Tyson took it easy on Roy Jones, bro, just going to the body. If these motherfuckers are going to want to fight Mike, they better allow left hooks to the fucking dome. Because Mike could have put him out, bro. But he kept going to the body, to the body, to the body, instead of throwing the hooks to the head. Yeah. If he hits Roy with one of those, two of those hooks clean, I'm not even saying it's just one. I'm not even saying it only takes one anymore. But with two, he kept going to the body. And I think it was in the rules. Like, I mean, no
knockouts.
They called it a draw.
It's over.
They called it a draw.
It was no draw. Mike had that.
So you do think this Legends thing is going to keep on going?
I mean, it sounds like it.
As long as they do over 800 buys again, like 800,000 buys, it's going to continue.
My second question is...
De La Hoya will be on there.
Yeah, my second question is, does Jake Paul, does he have not so much a future in boxing, because no, that's not the thing, but do you see more fights for him in the future, and are you interested?
So what I hear from him is that he's as popular as he is, he's also very hated.
Yeah, super hated. Yeah. Because he called COVID a hoax.
I think people will continue to buy the way they do for Mayweather just to see him lose. I think that's the situation with him.
Him versus Dylan Dennis. I want to see that happen.
You know, I think he'll beat Dylan Dennis, bro.
You would.
Dylan Dennis is not the best stand-up guy, as we know.
And if they were to do that, Dylan Dennis would shoot the leg. I don't think he'd want to get knocked out. He just shoot.
Your boy fucking came out saying he would fucking beat him in anything. Ben Askren.
Yeah, Ben Askren was like.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that.
He would fuck Ben Askren up so bad. Yeah,
I think he would. I think he touched up Ben Askren with the boxing. Honestly, what I saw that night, if this kid wanted to box,
Chill, Justin. That's not what the question
this
was.
kid
dude.
wanted to box.
He said Nate Robinson was.
He could fight. He could fight on some of these cards where. Well, I'm not talking about like.
Oh, put him on the
title.
undercard of some of these good fights. Yeah.
No,
For
there's
sure.
guys he can fight, bro.
Well, that's. I think that's legitimate. I think the fact that he has a huge draw should be attractive to the boxing world, and they should try and use that a little bit more to draw some viewers. I do agree there. I do think he is a little crazy for calling out Conor McGregor in a boxing fight. I think that would do numbers for sure, but I think Conor would wash him up in box. That wouldn't even be close.
You think Conor will wash up anybody? So.
Nah. I knew he was going to get washed by Floyd. I was not saying any of that. I was not saying any of that.
Got a chance.
Nah, I was not.
Portnoy says
that's
cap. Crazy if we don't think that eventually McGregor versus this Paul kid happens.
That we're crazy. We don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, he said there's too much. money.
There's too much money. Way too much money. Let's get back to real boxing though.
I'll pirate it.
Yeah, I'll be there pirating it too. We got Earl.
Hey, I get my links from Justin. If the feds are watching.
Earl the Truth Spence versus Danny Swift Garcia for Earl's WBC IBF World Welterweight title. This is Earl Spence first fight back since his car crash.
Bad car crash.
Bad car crash. We didn't even think he'd be ever to box again. And he's coming in as a heavy favorite at minus 400 to a pretty moderate underdog of Danny Garcia at plus 300. I like Earl Spence here. If he is anywhere close to where he was before the car crash, should be no problem for Spence here. He's one of the greater ones at 147. I want him to get through this so that we can see him and Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford. I would like to see that fight next after this one. See who really is the best welter at that time.
I'd probably take Bud Crawford in that one, but I think Earl Spence, I think this fight's lined correctly. Danny Garcia, kind of maybe on the tail end of his career. He's coming off a couple losses. Earl Spence, this could be a good get-back fight from him, and he has about 4 inches of reach on Danny Garcia. So I'm going with Earl Spence, big comeback fight. He's a Texas boy, and I want to see that Terrence Crawford-Errol Spence fight. I want to see that fight happen.
All boxing fans want to see it now. Whether we can get it done without Heyman and the way the promotions are set up, because Earl's on Showtime and Bud's on ESPN.
No, that's got to be pay-per-view, man.
Oh, it's going to be pay-per-view, but we already saw it once. I mean, they got Deontay Wilder to fight
exactly
with a Gypsy King. So those are two different promotions. Let's do it again. Let's get the people fighting the best fighters fight the best fighters. Let's get that going again.
So does anybody think Garcia stands a chance against Earl Spence?
True, we'll do it.
No, I don't think so, man. I don't see it for Garcia.
Yeah,
I like Garcia a lot, but not against.
Is this the Garcia with the rowdy ass dad?
Yeah, with the from
He
Philly.
has a big chance.
What?
Yeah, he has a chance. Yeah, what do you mean? This guy was almost in a car crash that killed him, bro, and he's coming back to fight a guy who's 36-2.
Yeah, but older.
You always see and those losses are against better competition. You have to argue that that's the best that Danny Swift Garcia had fought, and he lost both of those fights.
What if it takes several rounds like it did? Like after we saw Lomachenko,
get you for him to get ready to get back in the fight game.
Yeah, like what if he doesn't get started until the 6th round, like Lomachenko did, and all it takes is losing one of those back 6 to lose the fight.
No, I don't see that. The whole Lomachenko situation is a lot different.
Well, I think that all the Earl Spence fights are always lined pretty much
appropriately
minus 1,000.
Yeah,
and
this is I know 400 is steep, but for boxing, it's
relative.
It's a heavy. This is a heavy favorite, man. It is.
It's not that heavy though, bro.
For boxing at 400, it's a heavy favorite. You can go any website and then they'll tell you. This is
probably his closest line fight in his career.
Doesn't matter. At 400, it's a heavy favorite.
No, this is
It's not a heavy favorite.
Could we say that this is Earl Spence's toughest fight of his career?
Up until this point, probably.
Opponent-wise, and then he's having to come back from a car crash and years of boxing.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Danny Garcia have a chance?
I'm not saying
the reach. There's a 4-inch reach disparity between him and.
You said that, and it made me hesitant, especially because Earl Spence is a guy who knows how to use his reach.
Yep.
But I mean,
Yeah, because like Earl Spence, when he fought Mikey Garcia, Mikey had no business at that weight class.
Not even close.
Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook, those are big wins. Kell Brook just fought Bud. Bud did dispose of him a lot easier than Earl did, but Earl might have given Bud the blueprint.
And then he beat Sean Porter.
Sean Porter, that's a big win for Earl. I mean, Sean Porter is no joke.
Nope.
So
That was split decision though, right?
yeah, it was split. But you know what? I'm willing to say Sean Porter is even. I'd probably hold him just a little higher than even Danny Garcia.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Either way, I'm glad boxing's back. There's some buzz again.
Is it free or in this pay-per-view?
What they gotta get
Pay-per-view, bro.
they gotta make that Bud Crawford Errol Spence fight as Spence gets through this. They gotta do it.
Yeah, let him win first.
That's the advantage that UFC has right now is that you can have the best fighting the best, and over here with boxing, there's a lot of red tape. A lot of red tape, man. So, but yeah, boys, I'm glad we're back. It was fun doing this. It was a while, but I'm glad we got it back into this podcasting. I know a lot of requests for it, so I'm glad to give it back. Ben has started a new podcast as well. If you haven't seen that, it's on YouTube. Catching a Vibe podcast.
Hell yeah.
Good session with 3 of his buds. And we'll be in the studio tomorrow with special guests. I'll leave that to you if you want to announce that.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be doing podcast number 2 with Mondo.
Hell yeah.
Just talk random shit with Mondo. Maybe talk a little bit of Texas craft reviews and why the hell he's been slacking putting out reviews.
Yeah, he got some good traction when he started too.
He did, and then he decided to go sober. For a month. So tomorrow I'm gonna put him on to the test. He's on the hot seat. How can you start a craft review channel and then go sober a month in? The question will be answered tomorrow on Catching the Vibe.
I like the name of the podcast. Catching the Vibe is pretty cool. I like that.
I like to think I had helped him with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Not fully, but
we gotta work on the intro song though, because Molly Percocet ain't too much of a vibe.
I think we got a strike on one of the podcast platforms because of it.
You see,
we'll fix that for you. I'll work on something.
All right, but yeah, man, good to be back. We'll be back next week. We got El Cucuy back against Charles Oliveira, and then Davison Figueroa is back.
1 week,
defending his belt again, twice in a month.
Yeah, Dana White said you're not going back to Brazil. You're staying here and fighting.
Is that twice in a month's time? Though, or is it a little over a month?
In about 30 days, it's about a month. I'd say it's pretty crazy.
That's a pay-per-view that I'm looking forward to watching. That co-main event's going to be crazy also.
Mm-hmm.
2 pay-per-views left for the year as far as UFC goes. We will be bringing back the pick'em for those pay-per-views, and we have to do something a little special because we're announcing the winner after that last pay-per-view.
True.
There we go. And we'll be 1 week closer to the NBA's return. They'll be back on the 22nd, like we talked about, with the Warriors versus Nets. We're going to get the first look at KD and Kyrie, and then we got the Lakers getting their championship rings against the Clippers. So that'll be good. And then we got Christmas Day. Christmas Day games are coming back. We got a pretty good slate for Christmas Day. So looking forward to talking about all of this on the podcast. And the NFL playoffs are going to be heating up. So, yeah, man, perfect time to come back.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game.
Me. Bam. Me, man.
Not a game.
Slap that like she scored 30.
We talking about sports. I mean, what we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.